hello. Hello, hello. It is time. It is fruiting time. I need to think of a better way to start my streams. I need a better opening to my streams instead of saying hello. Hello. Hello, Wapusa. You stream. I stream, Wapusa. I mean, Wasaba. I mean, Wapusa. I stream. I do. This is a fruit that streams. This fruit really streams. Can you believe it? How are you doing, Wapusa? Welcome, welcome, and hi, Dragon. Hi, Dragon, welcome. Hi, Rhea, welcome. Hi, Vampire, Vampirex, Vampirex, welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. Hi. Hello. Oh, it's Sapphire. Hello, hello. How is everyone doing? Pretty's a cutie, pass it on. Dragon's a cutie, pass it on. Dragon's a cutie, pass it on. How are you? I'm doing good. I'm sleepy. I'm very sleepy. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I take coffee. I drink coffee in the morning and then I feel like so energized. And then I'm like bouncing off the walls. I'm bouncing. And then I crash like 3 hours later. And I feel pooped. I feel pooped. And then now I'm sipping coffee again because I can't stream feeling pooped, you know? I can't be a pooped fruit. I can't be a poopy fruit. But yeah. Just Vampire Vamp is fine? Okay. I'll call you Vampire. A Vampire. But thank you for coming. Thank you. How are you? You should stream games. Wow. I should stream games. You're right. Maybe I should stream a game that starts with silent and ends with hill. That would be kind of crazy, right? That would be pretty crazy. It's out of this world. It is such a great feat that nobody has done it before. The true first step has arrived. I have arrived, yes. And hi, Oz. Welcome in. Hiya. How are you, Oz? I hope you're doing well. I'm just gonna be trying to finish Silent Hill F today. It's been too long. Nobody's even playing it anymore. I am the last one. Once again, I am the last survivor. Last survivor syndrome. Yes. Too scary. Too scary, run. That was me at the office this week. I go to office, I see people, I'm like, run! Get away! Get away from the people! I get it. I understand the fear. More vacation pics! I don't have any more vacation pics. I already showed it all. I gave it my all. You've seen everything that I consumed and pooped out during the duration of the trip. I have nothing more. You must wait until next year. Until next year, yes. But if any of you guys have trip photos, you can always drop it in Discord. Maybe I can what's it called again? Something live somebody's life, vicariously live through someone's life. I don't even know. I forget the word. But you know what I mean. Next year, yes, next year then. Don't worry, I will terrorize you with delicious food photos next year. It's a ritual. It's a tradition. It's a holiday here in the Backrooms where I torture my mold spores with delicious food pictures. While you crunch on an apple. Yeah. Let me see. Cool TV. Oh, thank you, Waposa. I'm glad you like the TV with the never-ending countdown that restarts every 5 minutes. I need to replace that countdown with something longer. Like a 10-minute countdown instead of a 5-minute. Because the 5-minute one always runs out and then it starts again. And then people are like, no, it starts again. No, I have to wait through another countdown. So I will have to change that. Thank you for the water, Sapphire. Thank you. I need to drink more water. I haven't been drinking enough water lately. I am parched. I am turning into a raisin. I'm turning into a raisin. Not enough water. I live my life through footstep Twitch streams. You're living vicariously through me. To me, living in the day in the life of a Backrooms fruit entity, right? Right? First, I wake up at like 1 p.m. and then I take a mold bath, a cold mold bath, yes, a mold shower even. And then I get my morning supply of fruits and mold. And then I roll around in more mold. And I eat mold again. And then I drink some juice. And then I go to bed. That's the life of a mold fruit entity of the Backrooms. Very exciting. Incredibly exciting life. Did you see the meatloaf covered in bacon picture on the Discord? Wait, is it in the food channel? The meatloaf covered in bacon? Oh yeah, I see it now. I saw it. That looks good, kinda. That looks kinda good. The meatloaf covered in bacon. Bacon. Delicious salty bacon with the meatloaf. I would eat that. I would eat that. Was it good, Dragon? Was it yummy? Or was it yummers? Was it yummer? Yummalicious? Delicious? A group of friends and I were going to try and visit Japan in April for Sakura season, but we can't afford it at the moment. Oh, yeah, that would be so nice. Now, I haven't even seen Sakura before, at least not in real life. So, that would be cool if we can go, but yeah, it is very expensive. It's like the most expensive, I think. In March and April, usually. That would be so cool if you get to go. I hope you get to go. It would be nice. Even if you don't see Sakura, it's okay to go. Like another season too, when it's less busy and less expensive. Like the fall. Wink. Wink. I always go in the fall. The fall is pretty too. No Sakura, but all the leaves change color. And it's very pretty. And the weather is very nice. Very nice. When you said raisin, I thought of a raisin from Toho. You got the Toho syndrome. Everything you hear turns into Toho. Be like that sometimes. A raisin. I'm just a little raisin shriveled up in the sun, not enough water. It was delicious? Nice! It looks delicious. Never thought of wrapping my meatloaf in bacon. That sounds interesting. The only thing I wrapped something in bacon is when... Sometimes I wrap like... asparagus. Sometimes I wrap asparagus in bacon. I've done it once, I think. Usually supposed to wrap it in like those thinly sliced like Japanese like shabu shabu meat. But we don't have that here. So I wrapped it in bacon. It was pretty good. Hello, Two-Face! Welcome in, welcome in! I seem to be late to the fruit party. It's okay, I was late to the fruit party too. I actually put the start time on Discord as 9:30 p.m. EST when I was supposed to start at 10. So I was like, oh shoot! So I just changed it to 10:15. So I was in fact 45 minutes late. It is A-okay. I hope you're doing well, Two-Face. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. I don't know, guys. I have something stuck in my throat. Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't know. Something's in my throat. What did I eat? I ate dumplings. I had dumplings and then I had spinach. What did you guys have for dinner? Or food today, if you didn't have dinner yet? What is in my throat? Dumpling? Spinach? That's it. It must be the dumpling. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Yeah, something's in my throat, guys. What do I do? Something's stuck. It's kind of stuck. It's like plastered onto my throat. I don't know what it is. Ugh. Oh, it feels weird. What do I do? Drinking water doesn't help. Hold on. Hi. I try to cough it out. I'm doing good. That's good, Two-Face. Nice, nice. Are you doing anything fun for the weekend? Here's what's the most delicious food everyone has eaten. That's a good question. I don't know what the most delicious food I've eaten is. That is a very good question. Probably some kind of sushi somewhere, but I just can't remember where. Sushi's pretty good. I had like this donburi, like it's like rice with like sashimi on top. I think it was in Kyoto. It was in Kyoto a couple years ago, and that was good. That was so good. Maybe it's that. It had like different cuts of tuna on it, different cuts of like salmon roe.
Alright. I've clawed myself out of the deep blue sea to be here tonight. Hi, fruit. I'm so happy to see you again.
Yay, Squiddy! It's good to see you again too, Squiddy. Thank you so much for the 9 months. 9 months, thank you so much. Welcome from the depths of the ocean. Welcome to the gardens. Oh my gosh, it's good to see you, Squiddy. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I hope you got to see the VOD, at least for the last stream. It was a chill stream. Just talked about food and lots of food photos, but yeah. I have a new badge. Yeah, you do. Look at that. You have the little, the pink, purple, blue, strawberry badge. Very nice. You got the 9-month badge. Nice. I don't even remember how many badges I have. I think I have up to 12 months, maybe? I need to update that sometime. I think the 12 months one is like gold or something, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it should be like gold or something. I should make one for like a year and a half and then 2 years too. But welcome in, Squiddy. Chicken tikka masala. It sounds good. I like some good chicken tikka masala. Try singing. Do you think singing will dislodge the thing in my throat? Hold on.
Yep.
Yep. Yep, hi coffee. Thank you so much for 22 months. Thank you. Is that the yep to the gold thing? Wait, no. The 1 year badge is a rainbow. Oh, it's a rainbow badge. Oh, okay. No. Hi coffee. How are you? 元気ですか? 来てくれてありがとうね。今日も仕事かな? お仕事頑張って. Hi, Obey! Welcome in! I meant to be here earlier, but I fell asleep on my couch. No worries. It's a vibe. I wish I can sleep on the couch right now. I wish I can stream from the couch. That would be crazy. Has anyone seen that weird, like the really cool setup where it's like a bed, but then there's like a monitor in front of your face, and then like you have a little table in front of you, and you like, it's like the ultimate bed rotting machine. I love that. If I could afford it, I would get that and stream on that. I would just stream on that. It would feel so good. I might fall asleep though, to be honest. I might fall asleep. The bacon covered meatloaf was the most delicious thing you've ever had? Nice. It was that good. I should probably try sometime too. I'm going to a birthday party and visiting my great-grand. Oh, fun! Fun. Wait, is the birthday party for your great-grand, or is that separate? Is that separate? That's fine! Oh, great-grand, dang! That is very nice, very nice. Well, I hope you have a good time at the party and at great-grands. Or maybe both. Maybe they're the same thing. Maybe they are happening simultaneously. But I hope you have a good time. Yeah. I've made 2/3 of the way through the VOD and I've been wanting to see this for a week. I love pickles. Yay! Thank you! Another pickle lover. There was a pickle lover deficiency last time. There was not enough pickle lovers in chat last time. So it's good to hear. Good to hear, Squiddy. Good job. You don't have to go to pickle rehab center. Good job. We need more First Step Food streams? Maybe. I could do like... Now that I've already done the hand cam stream, I could do like a food review stream. But I should have done that with all the gummies I bought from Japan. Dang it. I'm so stupid. I should have done like a snack opening stream. Well, to be honest, I didn't open like 3 of them yet. But I've already ate the other ones. Oh no. Maybe another time. Maybe another time. You can. I can. If I set my mind to it, I can do it. Nothing can stop me. You're exactly right, Obi. That was my old setup. That sounds nice. That's the dream setup. The one where you can lay in bed and play games on your monitor and eat and drink at the same time. That's the life. That's the life, man. Literally pre-record content and just commentate. Nobody would know. But then I have to pre-record the content and then I have to publish it, and that's extra work. How about I just do a day in the life of a fruit entity and I just lay there. And you can watch me eat and watch me sleep and watch me poop and... it'll just be like a fruit entity observation day. I'll be like an animal in a zoo. And you can watch me do things. How would that? How does that sound? We need a food tier list. Yeah. Food tier list might be too broad though. We'll have to do like something specific. Like Japanese food tier list or like snack tier list or something. I also love the pickled beets they serve as shawarma. Oh, maybe I've had pickled beets before. I don't know if I had one. Let me see. Pickled beets shawarma. Let me see. Ooh, I don't think I've ever had them. I don't think I've ever had it, but it looks good. It's probably really good. Pickled beets sound pretty good. I said this last stream, but I like the... Sometimes when you go to Korean barbecue, they give you like pickled radishes. And they're like really thinly sliced pink pickled radishes. And they're so yummy. I love it. It goes so good with the greasy like KBBQ stuff. You know, you eat the greasy stuff and then you eat the pickle. And then you eat the greasy stuff and you eat the pickle. And it tastes really good. I could infinitely eat Korean barbecue if I had pickles. You gotta work hard to play hard, girly pop. Girly pop princess. True. Work hard to play hard, that is true. I just want to play hard though. I don't want to work hard. Barbecue food tier list? I could do that. I'll have to eat more barbecue before I do that though. I've only had like brisket. I've had brisket and sausage and pulled pork. And that's it. Yeah. What else is there anyway? Other than that, when it comes to barbecue, what's there other than brisket, pulled pork, and sausage? I can't think of anything else. That's all I eat. At work, just tried the matcha latte in the cafe next door, which is okay. Just okay. Just okay. I bought some matcha powder when I was in Japan, but I haven't had it yet. I haven't opened it yet. It's sometimes hard to find good matcha though. Especially if you don't live in Japan. It's a little bit trickier. Some places kind of don't taste very good. You know, it just tastes like watered down grass sometimes. And you're like, that's not good. Oh yeah, ribs. True. I don't like ribs that much though for some reason. I'm too I'm too lazy to eat ribs because it has bones on it. I don't want to eat the meat off the bone. I'm too lazy. White tea and orange peel drink and it's yummer. See, Obe here. Obe's workplace has some fancy drink making machinery going on. There's coffee and tea and probably like sparkling water and stuff. It's crazy. Even my workplace only has sparkling water and that's all we got. Fancy dispatcher over here. Hi Rhea. Hi. How are you? Burgers, hot dogs, and vegetables. Oh shoot. I forgot about barbecued vegetables. You're right. Like corn. Barbecued corn. That sounds good. Ribs and side dishes. Oh yeah. If I include the side dishes, that could be quite the tier list. Like the mashed potatoes and the mac and cheese and the coleslaw and like other stuff. Yeah. That is true, Dragon. That is very true. I never had white tea, so I have no idea. I think I've had white tea. It feels like Starbucks has some kind of white tea option available. but I don't know how to describe white tea. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know what it even tastes like. I literally have coffee in a box and he makes drinks for me. Coffee in a box and he makes drinks for me. I give him a fist bump on occasion as fair compensation. Just one fist bump? Why not two? Why not 3 fist bumps? Maybe it's too late. I've seen you already. I've already found you. I've already found you, Nebis. You don't know this yet, but I've already found you and I'm currently under your bed. So, too late. Hi, Nebis. Welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, Ray is so... it's not even Rhea. It's just my womanly instincts. I was like, yeah, Nebis is here. I smell it. I smell it. I'm playing Minecraft and my tablet is able to be plugged into my new PC. Oh, fun! Does that mean you can... Does that make it... Is that for like drawing? When you connect your tablet to the PC, is it for drawing or is it just cause? Just for... If you could do a tier list, what food tastes best in a hot pot? Oh, that's a good one too. Dragon has so many good ideas, man. So many good ideas that I can't come up with usually. Yeah, hot pot tier list is nice. I do like hot pot. I really like the spicy broth. I sometimes like to do hot pot where like half of it is spicy and the other half is not spicy. So I can take a break. And I just go back and forth between spicy, not spicy, spicy, not spicy, spicy, not spicy. It's very delicious. Probably my favorite thing to put in a hot pot though is like that tofu skin thing. I don't know if anyone's had it, but it's like this little... It's like tofu, but it's like thinner. It's much thinner and it's slippery. And you put it in and it tastes really yummy. Really yummy. 2 to 3 fist bumps would be me punching him because his other hand is working, so that's a boost. True. True, but... Oh, but nobody ever said to do these fist bumps full force. You can do a light fist bump. Why you gotta send it? Why you gotta... Why you gotta give it your best shot? Just do a little tap. Just a little tap will suffice. Obi's fist bump is very aggressive. No! Not the abuse. The abuse caboose. No abuse caboose allowed. Coffee is under my protection. The protection of the Backrooms. I need him in one piece. Please. Gotta pay under the bed taxes? Nowhere is free? I'm already paying my under the bed taxes. I whisper very gentle, sweet things in your ear while you sleep. Belome. Belome. You will dream about the loam. You will dream that you turn into a mold spore and you are a very happy Nebis. You are Nebis the mold spore. And you love pickles. You love pickles and you will eat it every day and drink the pickle juice. The loam. Ah! No spitty. Ow! I got punked you. No! Oh, babe! How dare you? How dare you? You're supposed to be on my side. How did that happen? You're supposed to be on my side, oh, babe. I was betrayed. I was betrayed. How could you do this to me? How could you? I don't want pickles whispers in my head. Pickles. Tonight you're just gonna hear pickles all night long. That's my tax. I'm paying my tax. Okay? It is drying again. Nice! I hope you're drawing something good. I hope you're having fun. I hope you're having fun with that. Feels like I haven't seen Araya artwork in a little bit though. In a little bit. I feel something stuck in my throat. Gosh dang it. I don't really mind. Of course you don't. Of course you don't, Coffee. Hi, Blue Jay. Welcome in, Blue Jay. How are you? Welcome in. How's it going? Have fun in Japan rooms, aka vacation. Yes, it was very fun. I shared pictures last time and I had a lot of good food. And I spent time with a grandmother fruit and aunt fruit and uncle fruit. It was quite good. It was quite good, yes. Favorite thing to put in hot pot is skin. Stop it! Stop it! Stop taking things out of context. It's gonna end up like that spine redeem that I have. Like, I love spines. I love skin. Oh, it's starting to get to a horrible, horrible channel about cannibalism. Not good. Cannibal bad. Do you want me to DM you the ideas in case you forget? Sure, you can DM me the ideas. Sure. Get out. No, I don't want to get out. I'm not getting out. It's too comfortable. I've already established my base there, so I can't really leave. I'm kind of like attached to the floor under your bed. The mold grew a little bit too much. Now I'm attached. Take my taxis? No! What posa? Just using the chaos to slide their tax papers in. Slide their tax papers in. Grab my hand and sign everything. Everything is now under my name. I have to pay Waposa's taxes. Dang it. Gosh dang it. Just get out under the bed. No! I don't want pickles. I'm on your side. Thank you, Obey. So should be bonking you? What the heck? Only people on my side can bonk me, I guess. The special privilege. I haven't drawn much recently. I did draw recently, but I haven't posted them around really. Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to post every drawing. You could draw for yourself. Draw for yourself and not for other people. Ray's been doing lots of planets lately, I believe. Yeah. I have seen. I've seen all the pretty planets. It was very nice. Very nice stuff. There's nothing wrong about being a hungry girl, and I am not judging you. Hungry girl. I'm always a hungry girl. Maybe not right now, though. I just ate. I ate a lot of dumplings, and I guess something in the dumpling is now stuck in my throat, and I don't know. It's like stuck. It feels really weird, and I don't like it. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that. It's just there permanently now. What is the longest name of a hot pot you have ever heard? I don't know many names of hot pots. I don't think I can answer that question. I just know it as hot pot. There's a funny lore cooked up about the Backrooms while you were on your vacay, but I didn't want to leave a big text wall on your server. Oh, it's okay. You could still drop it somewhere. I don't know what would be the best channel for that. Meme section, maybe? Maybe Mima? The Mima section? I now crave gyoza. Cry too late. I'm de-gyozad. Gyoza was good, but there's something in it. Some hard I almost said shit. I just said it. There was some hard stuff in there, and I don't know what it was, but now one of it is stuck in my throat, and I don't know what to do. Oh, hi, Cass. Welcome in. Did you already get the first ending? No, I haven't even finished, Cass. I still need to finish the game. That's what I'm trying to do today and tomorrow. I'm trying to finish. I'm at the part where, like, I finished the shoes house section, and I'm about to head back to my own house. So I probably have, like, a whole section remaining. I'm assuming that's the last section, though. But yeah, I have not finished it yet. How are you, Cass? Welcome. It sounds about right. Fanfic written ideas and long-form content channel could be good. Of course, probs with an obligatory no sexual content. Yeah, probably. We could make an extra channel. But I also don't want to make, like, too many channels and it gets, like, too much. I think right now is, like, a good amount. I'll probably put it in either You can even put in artist's crib. Writing is a form of art, right? Artist's crib or meme section, probably. Nice. Yeah. I know I have to play the New Game Plus too afterwards, or else I'm gonna miss out on it. But I don't know if I'll play New Game Plus on stream. I might just do it off stream or like in Discord or something. I do not know yet. I don't have a lot of time either because I'll be out of town again in like 2 weeks. Oh gosh, I only have 2 weeks left before my surgery of death. Gosh dang it. So yeah. I can make that real quick. Nah. We can use the threads thing. Oh, true. We could. I don't know how to use it though. What's the usage of threads? I'm good at a little bit of offline playing of Silent Hill F2. Oh, really? Are you on your second playthrough or is it like third playthrough now? How many playthroughs would you recommend? Because I was gonna play at least one more time, but I don't know if I'm gonna play it like more than twice. That's the thing. Ugh. The hair in my chest. Ugh. Okay, there it goes. Trying to bookmark all the places and side quests for the other endings. There's side quests? Wait, really? There's side quests? Is this just the New Game Plus thing, or is it in the first playthrough too? I request hugs. Hugs. There you go. I hope everything goes well. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, I'm just removing my wisdom teeth. I already told this to everyone like 5 million times, but yeah. I'm just removing wisdom teeth. Oh, I don't want to do it. I'm this close to writing a will. I'm gonna write a will and slap it on the wall behind me right here. On one of the pillars back there. For somebody to discover it. First come, first serve. Whoever finds... Ah! Jenny, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you so much. Thank you. You became one with the loam. Welcome to the loam. Thank you. I'm not happy. Thanks for being your best. Aw, thank you, Junie. Thank you for always being here. I really appreciate the support. I hope you're doing well. How are you? Are you doing anything fun for the weekend? Anything fun coming up? I know Thanksgiving is coming up. I don't know if Junie lives in America or not. Alas, it is an American holiday. The time has passed for that, but I'll tell you a bit. Long story short, while you were gone into the Japan rooms, the mole left behind grew sentient and formed into Moldstep, believing herself the one true fruit. And the war broke out in the Backrooms. Dang, that's some intense political stuff happening. That ain't the first war in the Backrooms, though. That is not the first war that's happened back here, for sure. True ending requires you to get 2 endings first. Ah, so you have to play it at least 3 times, if not 4 times. New Game Plus, you get more cutscenes and lore? What? Wait, that's actually... I didn't know you get more cutscenes. I thought it was more like, oh, you can pick up, like, certain special items in the second playthrough, and then, you know, like, extra, like, loot or extra, like, lore like that. But I didn't know they have extra cutscenes. Shoot, maybe I do need to play it on stream. Maybe I do need to play it on stream. Wisdom teeth getting removed because I have to get mine removed? Yeah. Okay, I'll try not to talk about it. But it's creeping up. It's gonna be here in no time. I'm so sad, man. Should I write a will? I made a thread. I can tinker with this so if it's better too. Oh, thank you, Obey. Thank you. Trying to find it. Trying to find the thread. The thread of fate. I actually can't find it. Wait, where'd you put it? Member server boosts past to ripeness. Royal postings. Fruits castle. Maybe I need to close it. Close, Oh, let me see. Oh, writer's thread. Writer's thread, where is that? Oh, it's under artist's crib. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I see you now. Thank you. I live in the Americas. Yes, lots of food for Thanksgiving. Can't wait. No worries, food is awesome. Nice. Yeah, Thanksgiving is a time to feast. Time to feast and fatten up before the winter. That's good. That's good. But hopefully you get to eat some good stuff. Hi, Seraphine! Welcome, welcome! What's up with the sus face, though? Why are you sussed out? Why are you giving me the bombastic side eye? Bombastic side eye. But welcome in, welcome in. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I'll get my wisdom teeth removed when I'm dead. Who's gonna remove them when you're dead? Who's gonna steal your little teethies? Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people don't do it. I was talking to some people at work, and they were like, nah, I'm never doing it. Thank you for the water, Seraphine. Thank you. Some people were like, yeah, I'm not doing it. Or some people were like, I've been living 50-something years and never caused any problems, so I will never remove it. And stuff. I guess it's fine if it never causes a problem. I'm just scared because when I look at the x-ray, the teeth is completely colliding with my molars. The wisdom teeth is colliding with my molars. Plus I have braces. Yes, this entity had braces, yes. And I have braces and I'm afraid my teethies will move. Also, sometimes I have like weird jaw pressure, so it doesn't feel good. But yeah, if it's not causing any problems, I guess you don't have to. By your third playthrough, you have a whole new perspective on the story, plus you get access to new areas and secrets? Oh, tempting. But I might still stick with playing it off stream. In Discord maybe, on like the server. But yeah, that would be fun. That would be a fun little thing to do. I wish I was here during December. Then I could do that more, but I'm gonna be gone all of December. It's within the artist script. Thank you, Obe. Thank you. Not enough mold. You came back for more? More mold? Can't get enough of it, huh? I'm doing well. Been tired. Me too, Seraphine. I'm so tired right now. I just want to lie down and sleep, to be honest. I just want to lie down. I get that. Whoever wants them, I suppose. I call dibs. Huh? Wait, what? I call dibs on Squiddy's teeth after Squiddy's in the grave. I'll take it. Add it to my collection. Collection of teeth. Teeth of my followers. People call the wisdom removers will come for you? Yeah, the wisdom removers. They are coming for me. I scheduled it and I'm paying them $1,000 to come to me. I have hired the wisdom removers for $1,000. In all honesty, though, it's pretty expensive. It's $1,000 after insurance, which is crazy. Watch your backs. Yeah, they're coming for ya. The wisdom removers, the teeth grabbers. They're coming. If you want a minimal amount of replays, I recommend after the first ending, get one of the endings that require side quests. They'll mention what to do at the main menu. And the UFO ending for fun. Wait, what? For a minimal amount of replays, I recommend after the first ending. So after I finish the first playthrough, get one of the endings that require side quests, okay? And the UFO ending for fun. Okay, okay. I'll try to keep that in mind. Do you have to... Wait. Cass, did you have to, like... Did you have to, like, look it up as you went? Or is it, like, obvious enough that you can do it without looking at a guide? That's the only thing I want to know. Like, do I have to be looking at a guide to do it correctly? Or, like, is it intuitive enough that you can do it without one? I love secrets. Secrets. Spill the tea. Extra hot, please. I love secrets. My dentist told me earlier this year the stress that caused my jaw to become larger and made more room for my wisdom teeth. Not sure how to feel. What? That's cheating! Squiddy is cheating! Squiddy found the cheat hack for the wisdom teeth. No! Also, Squiddy, Giga Chad, humongous jawline confirmed. I just imagine you with, like, looking like one of those, like, Giga Chads with, like, the The huge jaws. Yeah. Wow. Oh, wow. Squiddy Giga Chat. That's crazy though. I didn't know I can do that. Dang it. I'm so sad I have to remove my teeth and go through the pain of it. Everybody says it's sore. That's all I hear. That's all I hear when I ask people, how was the surgery? They're like, sore. That's all they say. Sore. Ugh. Man. Ooh, 5 streams straight. Nice, Seraphy. Nice. 5 streams in a row. I wonder if you get like bonus points for doing that. Do you get bonus? Oh yeah, you do. 450 extra seats. Nice. I have to get my wisdom teeth removed because he said if I didn't get them removed, it could lead to an infection. Oh, that's pretty bad. Yeah, if it leads into infection, that's probably a good idea to remove them. I was just told that if I don't remove mine, it's going to destroy my molars. They will be cracked, and then I would have to pull out my molars too and lose perfectly good teeth. Playing offline too, not a problem. Gets a little exhausting at a stream pace. Yeah, stream pace is pretty slow because you're like chatting and playing at the same time. So yeah, I would probably play it off stream, just on like a Discord call or something. I will let you know if I'm doing that. I'll bequeath you my teeth, although it will confuse my family at the will reading. The will reading be like, please give I don't know. Oh yeah, all of my cocktail making supplies to my son. This expensive watch to my daughter, and alas, all of my teeth to the fruit entity of the Backrooms. They'll be like, where do we find that entity? Where can we go for that? Don't worry, I'll be there. My mold spores will be watching. I'll just sweep in and just grab your teeth and just fade into the darkness. You may need a little online help, but if you have a sharp eye, it'll be no problem. Well, that's a concern. I don't have a sharp eye. I'll probably look at a guy just to make sure I don't mess up and miss something important. Explore a lot. I'm pretty good at exploring a lot. Can you imagine if insurance worked backwards? How much to remove my wisdom teeth? 1k, but I have insurance. Ooh, you do well. 2k. What? Why? Because we have to be extra careful now instead of going whammy on your teeth. Yeah, thankfully it doesn't work that way. I wish insurance did more though. They're slacking. They're slacking. Insurance is slacking. They need to hit the gym. Somebody tell insurance to hit the gym. They're slacking. I wonder if there is become a strawberry surgery nowadays. Like a cosmetic surgery to become a strawberry. I don't know. How would that go? You would have to like dig tiny little holes all over your face and put little seeds in each of them. And then you gotta like tattoo your whole face like red. And then you gotta dye your hair green and wear it as a mohawk. Become a strawberry. That's kind of gross. That's kind of nasty. They showed me the x-rays from now compared to 2019. I'm kind of pulling a crimson chin now just from stress. Is it like you're grinding your teeth from stress so you just develop Giga Chad chin jawlines? Is that what happened? Is it come from teeth grinding or teeth clenching? We need a fruit step mold sword. Ooh, that would be kind of cool. Fruit eats teeth. Tooth fairy fruit. True. I don't eat it though. I just put it on a string and wear it around my neck. Does that count? Am I still a fairy? Thank you for the apple. That actually scared me. What the heck? Thank you, Sapphire. Not cosmetic. The whole deal? What do you mean? The whole body? The entire existence? Replacing each cell? Is that what we're talking about? You would mock my dream? That's your dream? To become a strawberry? To replace every cell in your body and become a strawberry? For real? Well... Okay, fine. I won't mock you. I won't mock you. I won't mock your dream. Go be a strawberry. Go be whatever you want to be. This is 2025. You can do whatever you want to do. We can't stay for lunch, just want to drop in and say hellos. Okay, bye Nibis, bye-bye. My massive liquor supply goes to whoever can find it. I'll leave a map. It'll be a whole treasure hunt. The greatest treasure hunt in history. Finding Squiddy's liquor supply. The liquor supply that Squiddy doesn't actually drink from, but does make drinks. Does create drinks. Dang, that'd be crazy. Imagine if you just bury each drink in like a different part of the world. And you gotta dig it up. Ever since I was a youngin', becoming fruit was the path for me. Yep, yeah. Go be a fruit Vaposa. You're already like halfway there just by being here. The mold spores will surely take over your body and turn you into a little moldy fruit. Yeah. You see these strawberries behind me in the garden? All those strawberries? Each one of them used to be a member in the chat. That's right. Every single one of those strawberries used to be one of you guys. But they've been turned into a strawberry and then put onto a bush. And now they're just chilling back there. She was a fairy. She was a fairy. Thank you, Ope. Thank you. I hate Minecraft? Oh no. Why are you playing it if you hate it? Minecraft could be a chill game if I can get into it. If wearing teeth makes you a fairy, does that make poachers fairies? Poachers wear teeth around their neck? Like animal teeth? They're evil fairies. Evil. They're horrible evil fairies, poachers. The spores are on me. We converted them all. I see you rotate out sets of viewers into the garden. That's right. I pluck them sometimes. I pluck them and I sniff them like... And they smell really good like strawberries. They smell much better now that they're strawberries. Yes, they have been converted. They are believers. Believers of the Infinite Gardens. So Pickle Rehab is just confinement to the Infinite Gardens for all time. Well, not all time. Until you like pickles, essentially. You'll be in there until you like pickles. However long that takes. Minecraft is calm until the pickle appears. There's a pickle in Minecraft? There's a Minecraft pickle? I'm just picturing buff Australians in shorts with tooth necklaces. Buff Australians in shorts with tooth necklaces. Ew. Ew. Is that what coffee looks like? A buff Australian in shorts with a tooth necklace. Can we confirm? We love unfinished fruit. Thank you. I'm glad you like. Yes, I'm glad you enjoy this fruit. Creeper. Oh, the creepers. Yeah, they do kind of look like pickles, huh? They do look like pickles. You're right. I forgot them. They were green. Creepers are little green dudes. You first said Minecraft Community Day? Yeah. If only I like Minecraft Dragon. I just don't like Minecraft that much, which is the problem. Yeah, Shrimp was here. Oh my, Shrimp was here. You're right. I was like, why is Ray saying hi, Shrimp? Shrimp wasn't here. Shrimp was here. Hi, Shrimp. Hey, it's Shrimp. Hi, Shrimp. Hi. It's our favorite shrimp. Favorite shrimp of the sea. Favorite shrimp of the sea is here. Welcome. Shrimp, did you hear that they came out with a new big update for Escape the Backrooms? Did you see that? Did you see the video? They have multiple endings now. Wink. 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 I need to play it. I know. Yeah, you heard that, Ove. I need to like conjure up a gang to do it again. Yeah, Shrimp, they've done it. They've done it. They finally released the update, the major update. Now there's multiple endings and new levels. Yeah, we need to play a shrimp, please. Please. We must rally up the gang and play it again. It's so... I'm so excited. I'm so glad. I've been waiting for this moment since we finished that game the first time. And I played it a second time after that too with Obe, I think. I played it with Obe. We gotta do it again. There's new levels and everything. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be so fun. Yeah. You're a beast for liking scallop sushi. I'm never happier than a big meal of scallop sushi. Yeah, scallop sushi is so good. I love scallops. I don't know. Have you had the... You've had the raw... Are you talking about the raw ones? I like the raw scallop sushi. But like cooked ones are good too. Cooked ones are also good. But yeah, scallop is so good. It just... I like the texture. It's soft. It's like really soft. But it's got like a really unique texture to it. Fruity brethren across the pond. Indeed. Creepers originally attacked the player by hitting them and they would explode on death. Oh, I see. So now, do they just explode now? I'm not too familiar with creepers. Simple as that. I know, simple as that. I'm just saying I'm off until next Friday. Okay, you're off? Like completely off until next Friday? We could play it. We'll need one more person though. But you could play with 3 people too. But maybe we could have one more person as well. We shall see. Gotta discuss it. Gotta hold a little meeting, a top secret VIP meeting only. Only for Backrooms. Yeah. I like Minecraft when with friends or the build I'm doing ends up needing 100,000 items of one out of many or it's modded. Yeah, I guess the modded ones are pretty fun. It kind of like helps you find things to do, you know? Look, it's Anonymous Gigachad. Anonymous Gigachad, thank you so much for the 5 gifted. Thank you so much. Thank you for gifting Seraph and Empty and Hans and Homeless and... Oh, Shrimp got one too! Hey, Shrimp got a gifted sub. Nice. Thank you so much, Anonymous Gigachad. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. Arigato. Ne. Sugoi ne. Ne. Sugoi ne, itsumo. Itsumo arigato. Giving gifts to people is so nice. I agree. It is so nice. Giga Chat is always really nice. Always the nicest of nice. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Now Shrimp can use all the emotes. All the cool emotes. I need to do an emote renewal sometime. Maybe I'll do that in December. Maybe I'll be bedridden with a swollen chipmunk face, and then I'll be making new emotes. Maybe. But thank you. Thanks for gifted sub. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for the petties, Havoc. Thank you. Oh, petty. Thank you. But yeah, we'll have to think of something for the Escape the Backrooms. I am down to play it. I mean, I have to play it. I will play it. There's no other way. The best Backrooms game ever in existence. The best of the best. It's what started my transformation into a moldy fruit entity. I've become one with the Backrooms since then. It's great. But yeah, I think Adam's gonna start soon, so I'll go on ad break and then I will start up the game afterwards. Alright, I shall be back. I shall return. Wah. Forever changed by the Backrooms. I know. Forever changed, but changed for the better. I've become better since then. The Backrooms has made me into a better person. Or better fruit. Yeah. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, I am back. I am back. I am also very happy to announce that I have successfully removed the crap that was stuck in my throat. I removed it. It has dislodged itself. I'm very happy that it dislodged itself before I start the game. Gosh. I was like, how am I going to scream and shout with that thing stuck in my throat? But it's out. I got it out. All is well. Everything's fine. Everything's fine now. Hold on. Let me adjust some things. Okay, just here for a second. Okay, there we go. That's better. That's better. Am I too high up on the screen? Let me see. Just pew, little mini fruit. Mini. Game position, save. Okay. Nice. Time to hold another We Hate Dinko meeting. Oh gosh. Thank gosh. We already got rid of Dinko. We dipped the Dinko in extra spicy buffalo sauce. So everything's fine now. She's been dipped. She's been dipped in the sauce. Funny first step. Ah, funny wabusa. Ah. Why did I get bonged? That's why. But very funny. Wabusa. You're very funny. Ha. Throat crap purged. Thank you. I'm so happy. That was so uncomfortable. Oh my gosh. Wait, update queue. There's an update for Silent Hill F. Patch 1.10. We carried out an update adding new features and addressing some in-game issues. New action difficulty casual. Excuse me. I wanted to play it on casual. No, wait, let me look at this patch note for a second. Added action difficulty casual. The casual action difficulty will be playable when starting a new game from New Game on the main menu or from a New Game Plus save file. For players on a story action difficulty or higher, the casual action difficulty will be selectable upon reaching the game. So wait, so there's story mode and there's difficult mode. So casual is like even easier than story mode. Alright, let's go. Let's go. They've done it. The developers have done it. They've created an even easier version of the game. It was a whole mushroom. Yeah, it was a whole fungus. There was a little fungi in there, you know. He's been purged. Time to wait. Time to wait for what? Oh, for the update? It shouldn't take that long. Maybe they fixed that screen glitch? Oh my gosh, did they? Well, let me look. Bug fixes. Okay, there's a huge list of bug fixes here. Thank you for the lurk, Cass. Thank you. Tell Kimi I said hi. Okay, let me see this. Fix bug where shoe duplicates in the cutscene. That never happened. Interaction icons. Sakuko-like entity stops moving in combat. What the heck? Fog monster. Multiple levels. They didn't fix it. Dang it, they did not fix that bug. It's not in their patch list. Gosh dang it. That is unfortunate. No. Added optional skip feature for select sections of New Game Plus. Or you can like skip certain sections. Items from skip sections will not be collected. Okay, so you can skip some sections in New Game Plus now. Very interesting. Okay, update. What is sneeze? Ah, sneeze disappeared. Dang it. Sneeze ran away from me. Maybe they didn't fix it. It's unfortunate. Yep. I was hoping they would, but I guess it's not really a problem on the game end. Maybe it's just like a hardware problem. It's a little bit annoying though. A little bit annoying. Maybe I should just... Ah! I didn't mean to go back. No, go back. Go back. Oh, now it's all bugged out. Okay. Maybe I can just sit here for a second. It's at 40% complete. Shouldn't take that much longer. Do 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 do. Does anybody sing that song anymore? Am I just old? Am I the only one that sings that now when I'm waiting for something? Now let's just sit here and appreciate this background, this beautiful background. Up. Or you can appreciate my face too. That works too. Wink. Oh, wink. Okay, no, in all honesty, let's appreciate the background. Because you usually don't get to see it. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. I still really like this background. I'm really glad that I commissioned this. I think it was worth $300. It was great. It was great. Beautiful fruit face. Thank you, shrimp. Thank you. Beautiful shrimp face. Beautiful shrimp face. We need more beautiful shrimp face in our lives. Do you have a zoom toggle, shrimp? You should have a zoom toggle so you can zoom in and we can appreciate your beauty. But yeah, this is a nice background. I really like the hallway. It's like if without the hallway, if it was just this garden, it would just be a pretty garden. But the hallway is what makes it look really creepy and very Backrooms-esque, right? I love it. I love it. Alright, it's done now. I'm gonna click play. Okay, let me move this. Gotta charge the camera. Charge the camera. Alright, I probably forgot all the controls on how to do this. Probably forgot everything. Lower the game volume a little bit. I have no confidence. Controller's already really hard for me as it is, and it's already been like a month since I played it, so even it's gonna be great. Oh yeah, I forgot to put the disclaimer. The sensitive topics warning and the epilepsy warning. Maybe I can put it real quick. Epilepsy and trigger warning. Boo. Okay, that's good enough. Oh, no, okay, go, Obe, you got this. Okay, you got this, Obe. Go, no, go ahead. You'll write something much better than whatever the heck I wrote. No, okay. It's fine, whatever is fine. Thank you, Obe. Alright. Wow, that looks so cool. Did it look like that last time? Look at all the red. It complements my red hair very well, yes. Trigger warning. Thank you, Seraphine. Yeah, there's trigger warning. I scream with fruit with your face big on screen with your mouth open. I was doing that earlier, yes. I meant to show off the background, but then I ended up showing off my beautiful face instead, so... Yep. What you wrote is just fine. Thank you, Opie. Thank you. My screen was frozen. Yeah, your screen was... You just got a big face full of my face. A little bit. Oh, the volume's a little low in my ears. Alright, well this is looking really good. Really good. So last time we left off, did the music change too? Wait, hold on. I think the music changed too, guys. It's creepy as heck now. I don't think it sounded like that, did it? Or am I just imagining things? Okay, maybe I'm imagining things. I don't know. But last time we left off with like fighting Dinko, Sakuko, and Shu, right? And then we completed the ritual. That's right, we completed the ritual. Now I'm fully a fox girl. I'm fully a furry. Yes. But now I'm in the real world again, so I'm not a furry, but I will be again later, I'm sure. But now we're going back home to our house. That's where we started the game. Now we have to go home because our mama called and mama told us to come home. So we're going home. And it's probably the last part of the game. Down the mountain and head to the shimi. I have to go all the way around again? Wait, so that was Shu's house. My house is all the way up here. Well, maybe it connects here? Oh, yeah, wait. How do I zoom in? Oh, wait, there we go. It seems like there's a path here that I didn't take. Choose house. Maybe I can take the path this way. Otherwise, it's like too far if I try to go all the way around again this way. No way, right? Definitely more overgrown. Yeah, it was. It's definitely more overgrown. Humble step. Very humble, yes. It sounds scarier, yeah. I think the music changed a little bit. Big smiles, big smiles. Okay. There you go. There's the big smiles. Need to drink some water. I don't know, actually. I have no idea. Seems like I'm kind of headed in the right direction. I'm assuming there's a path near Shu's house that goes back to my house, maybe? Yeah. Also, let me know if the game sounds good. Maybe it's a little quiet right now. これくらいにしとくか。はい。これでいいんだよね。こっちでいいんだよね。そうそうそう。ここ来て、こっちがシュウの家。さっきシュウの家出たばっかり。We just left Shu's house. This is Shu's house. Can't go back in. Oh yeah, and her sister was there too. And she talked to us a little bit, but she looked a little funky dunky. She looked a little funky dunk. She had a little weird owl mask or something on her face. I guess I have to fight a lot of monsters on the way down. The monsters are scary. どっちでもいいか。こっちでもいいか。If I were Hinako, I would want to just leave town and go to that cafe that looks like someone's house. The cafe that looks like someone's house? You mean Sakuko's house? I would go if it wasn't messed up and full of monsters. ね。もうSakukoの家もダメだもんね、あそこ。もうお化けいっぱいで。Wait, there's a thing right here. A baseball bat! Oh, heck yeah! I will play with this a lot so I feel right at home. Yeah! Wait, what should I replace? Baseball bat? Axe was pretty good. Sledgehammer was great for like lots of damage. Knife is actually quite good too. But actually the axe is about to break. どうしよう. I know, baseball bat! It's finally a baseball bat. First step is number one. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you. What do you think, guys? What should I replace? Axe, the sledgehammer, or the knife? The knife still has like good amount of durability left. Axe is like... Wait, let me swing this axe for a second. Okay, axe is pretty good. Pretty good. Wait, how do I switch weapons? Okay, what about this one? To be honest, maybe the axe and the sledgehammer are pretty similar. Okay, sledgehammer, heavy attack. What about this heavy attack? Oh, that's even heavier. Maybe, wait, do I have any, like, thing to fix it? Let me see if I have a tool fixing kit. あ、違う、collectible じゃない。あれ？ちょっと待ってね。Key to Sakuko's mailbox. I never used this, did I? Wait, if I go back to the house and I open the mailbox, there must be something in there. Okay, not documents. Momori. Okay, I've already had the Momori. First aid kit. I do have 2 toolkits, actually. Okay, so maybe I'll throw away the sledgehammer. And use the baseball bat. Oops. Replace. Nice. And maybe I'll use the toolkit right now on the thing. Hold on. Toolkit. Oh, it's already in there. Okay, hold on. Oh, okay, nice. Okay, that fixed it. Okay, record. Iwashimizu, make your way down the mountain. Okay. Is there anything? Do I have anything to enshrine? Arare Higashi. Stamina. I'll just use this as an offering. 1,220 faith. It's pretty good. I don't have a lot of other items. I have Yokan and Arare. Oh, I don't have an Emma. I don't have enough points. Well, I have enough points for health, but I don't have an Emma. Oh. Okay. Hi, Toma. Welcome in. Is it bad luck if we open all the omamoris and eat the prayer paper? You're gonna eat the prayer paper inside? Toma. Bad, Toma. Bad. Bad. How would you eat the paper inside that is said to have the God's soul? You're eating a piece of God's soul. Skin omamori. What the heck? They say if you open an omamori, it's really bad luck. So if you ever get an omamori bag and you open it, you're gonna have bad luck forever. Don't open that thing. Sometimes there's like a little piece of wood in there too. Toma is actually a bunny. True. Eating paper. Oh gosh. Eating paper like a real bunny? Do bunnies eat papers? Yokan. なんかすごく嫌な声がした。もうなんかめっちゃ化け物の声がしたんだけど。I heard a monstrous howl. うわ、なんか変な音する。怖い。I hear something. Where am I? Okay, I'm just in this little nook. Also, the devs of this game are pulling Cry of Fears on me all the time with stupid jump scares. なんかないかな? Oh, there is something. Ramune? Okay. Not super useful, but it's fine. It becomes sacred because now the paper is inside your body. Not unless you poop it out. How long can you hold in your poop? That is the real question. And you can't lose it? Poop it out though. Poop out your omamori paper. Okay. I haven't used the baseball actually. I haven't even tried it. Okay, that's pretty good. Maybe I'll just keep using the baseball for now. Oh. Oh, beautiful sounds. Beautiful. Is this a radio? I can't play the radio. Sometimes you can play the radio and hear something, but maybe not this time. It just becomes absorbed into the small intestine? I guess so. I guess. But you also probably absorb some of it though. Yeah, I guess so. You absorb some of the fiber from the paper. And probably a little bit of the omamori power with it. That is true. That is true. やっぱこっちでいいんだよね. Looks like this is the right way. Oh god, it gave birth! It gave birth, guys! あれこっち来る? Ah, gosh. It's pretty hard. I dodged, but it didn't work. I guess I didn't have enough energy. Okay, nice. Nice. So I can't suck their soul anymore. So guys, Shrimp has my second brain cell. Yeah, Shrimp gets it. Shrimp understands. Pulsating flesh. Yep, nothing out of the ordinary here. Bandage. Okay. I have so many first aid kits now. I'll replace this. Piece of paper here? Lower? clinical trial. I began taking this medicine out of desperation. My first impression was that it smells of peaches and is faintly sweet. Peaches. I like peaches. After taking it before bed for the... Thank you for the water, Natsu. Hi, Natsu. Hello, hello. How are you, Natsu? Thank you so much for coming. How are you? How are you? And drink some water. Maybe some coffee. Water. How are you? Awake at very late hours once again, I see. Incredibly late hours. After taking it before bed for the past 3 nights, I had my first lucid dream. For the whole night, I was able to organize my thoughts in a pleasant darkness. Was this what the tales meant when they said the drug allows you to speak with your inner self? I've heard that taking vitamin B6 makes it easier to remember dreams. Oh, really? However, I'm sure effectiveness depends on factors like dosage and body composition. At any rate, this has been a letdown so far. Letdown? That sounds fun. Lucid dreaming and you can talk to yourself in your dream. That's pretty crazy. Also, vitamin B6 makes you dream better or something. Nice. Science. We're learning science in a video game. Hello, Natsu. Did you have dinner, Natsu? Did you have your pizza? You have some pizza for dinner? Coffee water sounds disgusting. Isn't that... Well, like people who drink their coffee black, isn't that just coffee water? Is it water? Is it coffee flavored water or is it water flavored coffee? Oh no! There's the booba monster again! Gosh dang it. The booba pimple monster's here. Oh my gosh. Wait, let me heal real quick. Maybe the pill? Maybe take another pill? Eating pizza right now. I knew it. You pizza boy. Oh, I hate... This is like my least favorite monster and they keep giving it to me. She pooped it out. She pooped it out. I ran out of stamina. Oh gosh, I mean, I still gotta defeat all the monsters. Oh god, the tree protected me. Ah. Oh. Okay, that was pretty good. That was pretty easy, okay. Did she poop another one out? Okay, no, she did not poop another one out. Oh, she's about to, though. Uh-oh. Ugh! Wait! Ah, yeah. Open them. Uh-oh, that one's like marinating in there. Oh gosh, she keeps pooping out more. What is that? Wait, actually, that didn't give birth to anything. That was just like a little bomb. Hi, Hashi, welcome in. This is still my first playthrough, Hashi. How are you? Oh my god, stop pooping out bombs. Had some spicy ramen for lunch and now she's pooping out bombs. Okay, it died. Oh, okay, that wasn't too bad. Maji, Buki ko... Well, look at the bat. It's almost broken. I mean, it is broken. Wait, let me, Oh my god, I only have one more left. I'm gonna... Oh, maybe the bat is just that strong. Wow. Back first step is a cutie. Oh, thank you. Dragon, you're a cutie. You're a cutie. She ate the omamori. She ate. I think it's just called coffee for the soulless. Yeah, probably. Water coffee or coffee water. Imagine coffee water as like you refilling an almost empty coffee cup just to get the remaining few milliliters. That's what I do with my tea. My little tea bags. That's what I do with that. I pour one cup of tea with it, and then I try to milk out the last little bit with another dosage of hot water. Prettisol, hi! Prettisol, welcome in, welcome. How are you? Thanks for stopping by. This is my first playthrough still of Silent Hill F. I'm nearing the end though, but I'm imagining there's still probably a lot to do. Is there like duct tape on it? No, no duct tape. Okay. World's strongest bat. I know, right? A bat that can smash a giant boob monster into smithereens. I want a bat like that. Okay, Fogtown. A hideous monster covered in countless skin cysts. Also, booba. Booba is not skin cyst. Wow, three stream streak. Nice, nice. It spawns monster after monster from the dreadful smelling clumps of flesh it drops. Filthy, foul, and repulsive. The wonders of birth do not apply to this. Nice. I'm gonna check that. Maya. Fox Mask. I have a second page to this now? Oh, I never read all this, so shoot. Hugs. Hugs. I was comically bad, but I'm good now. Aw, okay. I'm glad you're doing better now. That is good. Comically bad. I've never heard that phrase before. Comically bad. Okay. Okay, but I'm glad you're doing better. I used like maybe 6 runs, if not more per tea. 6?! You milk it 6 times? That's a lot of milking for a tea bag. Holy crap. Doesn't it just taste like water at the last 3 times? Doesn't it just taste like water at that point? I stole that phrase from Hashi. Comically bad. It sounds like something Hashi would say. Comically bad. Peas shyly. And that kind of stuff, you know? Oh, look at that. I have a little friend here. Look, I have a little friend. Who's this? Do you guys see the friend? It's stuck to me. The friend is stuck to me. I have a little friend now. Where'd you come from? Look at that. Oh, thank you for the petties. Thank you. Thank you. 何これ? ほんと、ちょっと、どいて、ほい。What the heck? I've never had that happen before. You're trying to throw more on me. That was really scary. Okay. He promised everything I could ever want to be content. A life full of comfort for as long as I live. Wow. The perfect husband. I say that sarcastically. A status that no one could look down on, and most importantly, endless love for me. Yeah, that sounds like what people expect from a husband back in the day. Stop trying to get something stuck to me again. We gotta add to the pile. I wish, what if I really like what's it called? The mold creature. What if I put the mold creature on my shoulder? That would be kind of cute. But hi, Blue Jay! How's everyone in chat? How is everyone in chat? That is a great question. For all this, I will give him all of me. Body, mind, and soul. Whoa, girl, there. Whoa, let's calm down. You just met him like 3 hours ago. This is a little too fast. I will even give him what I have fiercely protected my whole life. My will to make my own choices. From now on, I will let him decide everything for me and simply do as he says. Sounds like an easy life. This is what happiness means to me. Oh, girl. Oh, girl. Look at all these crazy drawings. Dinkle. Shu. Oh, yeah, because Shu was H-U-N-G. H-U-N-G. So it's depicted here. And she's in the darkness. And Dinkle is... well, she's been sauced. So... Junko, too. Junko always told me the quickest way to happiness is to live the way society expects women to. Girl, it's 2025. It's 2025. We don't do that anymore. Well, if there's a quick way to happiness, then there must be other ways too. One time when I was little, Junko showed me how to find my way out of a maze in a puzzle book. There's no doubt that she showed me the quickest solution. Still, what I felt that moment was nothing compared to the joy of figuring it out for myself. Oh, that's nice. Oh my gosh, Rai! Hi, Rai! Welcome, Rai! Rai was in the Peak collab the other day. I think, yeah. But hello, welcome in! How are you? Hello, Rai. How are you? Thanks for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing good, having a good day, good night. I'm still trying to finish this game. It's still my first playthrough. I'm very slow. I'm very slow. I'm good. How are you? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm very eepy, so I'm drinking some coffee right now. And I had a piece of like a dumpling stuck in stuck in my throat like an hour ago, but it's gone now, so I'm good. You've been it once? So nice. Did you like it? How was it? How'd you like it? So far, I'm doing pretty. I like it. I like it a good amount. But I have yet to get the ending, so I have to decide that once I get the ending. This book is kind of cool. Yeah, this little diary is pretty cool. She drew in it and everything. The drawings are very cool. Mind, body, and soul, rare throwback. I agree. I wish someone clipped that. Yeah, with the thing getting stuck on me. That was pretty funny. Rosicle day until mid-afternoon, so I slept all day. Oh no! I hope you're feeling better, Blue Jay. I mean, it sounds like you're feeling a little better. Yeah. I'm glad you made a quick recovery. I liked it. I've been waiting for my friend to do the second playthrough for a new ending. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Like, I didn't realize the second ending and the second playthrough would have like so much extra stuff. So I'll have to do it too. I'll do it off stream though. Probably in my Discord server. Your mom's so cute. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rai. I still need to go check out your stream sometime. I need to go check it out. But thank you. I got a little close up. Wink. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's not that new anymore, huh? I debuted this back in May. So it's been a couple months. Yeah. It's been a couple months. But I like it. I enjoy it. I'm not bored of it yet. The close-up, yeah. I love the close-up toggle. It's one of my favorite toggles. Okay, that was a little freaky. I won't do that anymore. That was a little too freaky. I'm not gonna scare Rai off. No. I just met you this week, yeah. Teach me how to close up? True. Wait, close up like for you on your end? I don't know how to do it. For me, it's like you can't scare me off. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's good. But teach you how to close up. You want me to teach you how to close up, or I do it in a 3D software, but I'm not sure. Do you have a 3D model or a 2D model? I don't know if that's what you were asking, but yeah. I do it in this software called Vnian, which is what I use for the 3D model. I don't know how you would do it in 2D model though. There must be a way though. I've seen people with 2D models do it before. I'm pretty sure. But yeah. Only Live 2D, yeah. Ooh, I don't know. I'm not too sure how Live 2D stuff works, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure there would be like a tutorial on YouTube or something. I'm sure I can find it somewhere. Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't help. I'm sorry. I've only had a 3D model since the beginning of time, so it would be nice to have a 2D model sometime though. But yeah, I'll have to check you out sometime soon. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Okay, so this was the thing with the puzzle and figuring it out for yourself. Yes. What about you guys? Do you guys like figuring out puzzles by yourself, or do you end up like always Googling things? Googling the answer? For me, it's like a little bit of both. But I think about 70% of the time I just Google the answer. Because I can't do it. My temper won't allow me to solve something on my own. Okay, nothing gets on my nerves more than other people trying to make decisions for me. Even if what they're saying is right, it just rubs me the wrong way. I'd rather make 100 mistakes on my own than follow someone else's commands. You know, I kind of agree with that, to be honest. I think you learn the most from making mistakes. If someone tells you what to do, then you won't learn. But that can make for a lonely life, one where I refuse to listen to anyone else. I want to become the kind of person who truly listens to what others have to say. Of course, it'll still be up to me to whom I listen to. And that will be someone I can trust. Someone who will walk alongside me hand in hand. Who is that? However, making long lists of things I hate is just a way of running away from the real issues I have with my inner self. I have to step up and face what's inside me. Even even if I don't like what I see. Being able to take my time and carefully think things through before making a decision is what's most important to me. Looks like she knows what she wants. Hinako is a girl that knows what she wants. Okay, what kind of monster am I missing? Oh, this one. A monster that's a large taiko drum inside its mouth. It swings around its large bachi drumstick-like arms and strikes the taiko to instill fear and command. It tries to cancel out any noise with its loud voice and banging. That's how it's always been. How do you know that? It's like you know this guy or something. A monster that's taken the form of a head priest. It sounds just like Rinko. This is the thing we fought last time. Swinging around an onusa staff used for purification rituals, this creature is consumed by the fires of jealousy and remains surrounded by babbling puppets. There's no way Rinko is a monster like this, but this is her without a doubt. She is a monster. What are you talking about? We all know Rinko's a real monster. I like trying, but if the puzzle is tedious, it gets boring. True. True. Yeah, there's like a fine line between a good challenge and then just being too tedious. What is your favorite grilled vegetable? My favorite grilled vegetable is either a zucchini or an eggplant. I love them grilled. It's delicious. Oh, and maybe some mushrooms. I try, but a lot of times I'm completely lost when solving the puzzle. Yeah, same. To be honest, as a software engineer, every day's work is a puzzle. I hate it. Maybe that's why I don't like puzzles, because that's all I do for work, is solve puzzles. Gosh. I try to do math alone though. Yeah, math is a puzzle too in a way. Yeah, math is a puzzle, isn't it? Hear me out, what if we put a traffic cone on his head? Wait, which guy's head? Which one? This one? This one? Is that a traffic cone? Are you saying this one's a traffic cone? It looks a little bit like a traffic cone. Grilled... Yeah, my favorite grilled food is a grilled squid. Word. Sure, drum guy. You want the drum guy to be wearing a traffic cone? A little orange traffic cone on his head? That'll be pretty silly. You know what? This guy's kind of cute. He's a little chunky. He's a little ball. And he's very cute. Yeah, okay. I already read the journal, right? Okay. Where am I? I'm still trying to go down the mountain. Okay, well this radio doesn't work either. Okay. Give me some loot. Gosh, I would cry if something jumped out right now, please. I love how all the houses have like the same furniture. Same assets being used over and over again. Maybe they just like sharing in this community. Nice. Sharing is caring. Share your furniture with your community. Pyramid head but traffic cone? What? Walmart pyramid head? Man, pyramid head, you put on some weight. You put on a few pounds there. He was a little chunky. A little chunky. あ、これはなんか落ちてる。あ、Emma! Ah, yes! I can get a health upgrade. Please. I don't know where the next closest Hokura or Hokora is, but... Look at that giant spider! Look at this giant spider, Lily! Look how big that thing is! Look at it! It's like... 3 times the size of my head. Gunther! Thank you so much for the raid! Welcome in, raiders! Welcome, welcome! I was just looking at how big this spider lily is right here. And saying that it's like 3 times the size of my head. Look at that. Huge. Huge. Thank you! Welcome in, raiders! Thank you for the shout out, oh bait! Yeah, my name is Fruit. I am a fruit entity of the Backrooms. I love playing scary, spoopy horror games. And right now I'm playing Silent Hill F and trying to finish it. So I'm at the end, I think. Judging from how torn up my outfit is, but yes. Hi Gunther! How was stream? You were just chatting? Oh, wait, that's kinda different from usual. I don't think I've ever seen you doing a just chatting stream. How is it? What did y'all talk about? What did y'all talk about? But thank you so much. If you need to go grab some tacos. Please go grab some tacos. Also share some with me, because I love tacos. Thank you. Traffic cone head has the same number of syllables? Really? Pyramid. Pyramid head. Traffic cone... No. Wait, it doesn't have the same number of syllables. Unless I'm just dumb. Hunter. Yes, Gunther. Gunther Hunter... Gunther Hunter Borderlands is his full name. Full legal name. これ何これ? あられ? Stream is good. Play some Borderlands 4. Then at the end of stream, I started doing a tier list for every game I've ever played. That sounds fun. Whoa, wait, another tier list idea. That's crazy because Jagan was talking about tier lists earlier. ちょっと待って! いや、怖い! ちょっとごめん! I'm sorry. Dude. There's no way, man. Should I fight this guy? Should I even fight this guy? Maybe I should change the weapon. Ooh. Oh yeah, I dodged that. Okay, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. Oh, this scared me. Your first scream in 3 weeks, guys. How was it? I mean, 4 weeks. How was it? Oh gosh, I know it came out of nowhere. It started making sound and it jumped out from this little corner. See, there is loot here. Of course. Suzuran. Omomori. Okay. Perfect dodges become easier to perform. Oh. That's like okay. That's mid. I'm already a perfect dodger as it is. But yeah, Gunther, what did you put as your S tier game? I could probably watch your VOD or something, but what was your S tier game on the tier list? It's so nice to hear her scream again. Yeah. I screamed a little bit during the peak collab with Sev a few days ago. There was some good screaming going on there. But yeah. We're back to screaming again. I never know which way to go. Which way should I go? This way? That was funny. Thank you, Rai. Thank you. Oh, look at that. It collapsed here. Oh, there's like a little path. Oh, a little peel. Okay. That's good. Just extra loot. Yeah, right. I do a lot of screaming. There's a lot of screaming in this part of Twitch. This part of the Backrooms. Jacob's ladder? Who's Jacob? And why does he have a ladder? I only got partway through the list and only had one S tier so far. Bioshock 1. Wait, it wasn't a Borderlands game? You didn't even have... It wasn't even a Borderlands game. Oh god, I hate that guy, man. I hate that guy. He's so loud and annoying. If y'all ever play Bioshock 1, you should try it. I've heard some things about it. I've heard a couple people talking good things about it. Okay, it died. Okay, nice. Okay. The knife is just really strong. Is there any loot here at all? No loot? Okay, I don't want to fight that guy. He's kind of big. Hey, Maji. It's not broken yet, but it's about to break. Oh, dude, I don't want to fight this guy. Go straight? Yeah, I gotta go straight. Okay, excuse moi. Don't mind me. Now is the perfect time to run. Okay, good. That's the right way. A lot of screaming here, yes. That is a lot of screaming in this corner of the Backrooms. I love Bioshock. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say good things about Bioshock. I still gotta try it though. もっとお化けいる? ここお化けいる? No お化け? I could probably replace this arare. Bandage is more important. Is he following me? Hope he's not following me. Oh, nice. Oh man, that is strong. I should be saving it though. For... Actually, no, the baseball bat's stronger. Okay, so I can't even go that way. Ursai! Ursai! Baka! 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 Die! Oh my gosh, guys. Dude! Dude, these devs definitely play Cry of Fear. Oh my gosh. I hate it when it's quiet and you just hear like frantic like stomping behind you. I hate it. Freaking stupid freaking just like old times. Just like old times. どうしよっかなこれ1個。でもこれ1個変えようか。Just like those Cry of Fear days. That's actually... We'll come back probably next week. Oh god. Pyramid and traffic cone are 3 syllables? No? Pyramid. Traffic cone. That's true. That is true. You know what? You know what, Coffee? I will give you my English degree. You can have it. Chris never played Bioshock. If I see it on sale for Black Friday, I'm buying it for you. Oh, you don't have to, Gunther. It's okay. I don't want you to spend money on it, even if it's on sale. I feel bad. I feel bad. こっちでいいんだよね。こっちじゃなくて、こっちか。It's like she never left chat. It's almost like I never went to the Japan rooms. It's like not a single second has passed since then. I think it goes pretty cheap. Yeah, I guess BioShock, it's like an older game, right? It's not new. I guess older games tend to be a little cheaper. True. Well, depends. If it's like $1, sure. Why not? Why not? どっち行こう。でもこっちはいけないのか。塞がってたよね、さっき。It was blocked. そうそう。塞がってた。あれ? Is there loot? No loot. Okay. Man, I feel like my weapons are gonna break. My knife is about to break already. I love my knife. Okay, now I'm here. So I have to go up. Oh man, it's so far. 遠いよ。この箱開かないよね。Okay. We're doing a scouting run on all of us visiting, notating. Sure. Anything you say, Ube. Anything you say. Does your English degree grant me superpower for my writing? Well, I don't know. What do you think, Coffee? I didn't know that pyramid and traffic cone are both 3 syllables. That is the kind of power you will achieve with my degree. Document.
早く家に帰らないと。
どういうこと? Oh, I mean like it's been infected. Okay. It's $22 Canadian. Are you Canadian, right, face? Well, it's not on sale. Okay, well that's not too bad. Yeah, that's pretty cheap for a game. Are you the Canada? In the Canada? Oh, you are the Canada. Is it snowing there? I've heard it's been snowing there, but I also know Canada's very big, so maybe not all places are snowing. Oh, steel pipe. Steel pipe isn't as good though, but I guess I can replace it with the knife. It was? Yeah, I saw somewhere that it's already snowing and people were like, pray for us, please. It's already snowing in Canada. Gosh dang it. Oh, okay. Do you like snow though? Or is it like... I don't know. I haven't really lived anywhere that snows, so... It is an interesting phenomenon to me. Okay, well, I don't like that the lights are flickering. It's a little sus. ちょっと怖い. Gonna take it slow. Canadian dollar should have been called CD. They should all pay in CD. Like a CD, like a disc. まあいいや、こんなにいらないよね。They are giving me a lot of healing items though, which is slightly concerning. Ad starts in 4 minutes. I've already been playing that much. なんだこれ、ブランコ。The swing set. Pulsating flesh. When you were a kid and you were at a park, what was your favorite thing to do? Was it the swing set? Or the slides? Or the seesaw? Or anything else? I like the swing set. I love swing sets. But for some reason now I'm like really scared of swinging. I don't know why, but it's like... I've developed a fear of swings. Oh no, I'm probably gonna have a boss fight here, aren't I? Maybe not. Yeah, what the heck? Yeah, the infection stops here. Interesting. Oh, there's physics! There's physics in this game. Yeah! Physics! I love physics. Oh, look at that. Look at it go. I have yet to see snow in your lifetime? You never seen snow, Coffee? Want to go to Hokkaido? Well, that's a big jump. That's a big jump from going from not ever seeing snow to now you're gonna see so much snow that you will wish you never see snow ever again. It's gonna be cold though. It's gonna be very cold. I have a friend who absolutely hates snow and it snowed for the first time this winter right on her birthday. It's a little gift from the little fairies in the sky. They're like, here's a little birthday gift. Snow. I like swings. I like jumping off high on them. Me too, Gunther. I also like jumping off the swings. But one time I made one of my classmates jump off with me and she broke her leg. So I technically kind of broke her leg indirectly and I felt bad. But yeah, it's fun. I like going home. Me too, Coffee. Favorite part of the day is going home. I would love to go to Japan in the winter so I can walk around in shorts and a t-shirt like a crazy Canadian I am. Everyone's gonna look at you funny. Walking around. Oh! Whoa. It's a fox.
すごいち、早く手当てしないと。ありがとう。
ことゆき。
大丈夫か？子供を噛むなんて許せねえ。ただ殺してやる。
僕はことゆきって言います。君は？私はひなこ。清水ひなこ。
あ、that's me.
私は覚えてさえいなかったのにな。
Who is Kotoyuki? Wait, is Kotoyuki the fox guy? Huh? I'm so confused. Who's Kotoyuki? And why am I there? What the heck? I'm so confused. She broke her own legs. Thank you, Gunther. Thank you, but I still feel bad. I told her to jump off. Oh, she just landed wrong. Also, hi, Gnome. Hi, Gnome. How are you? I hope you're doing well. How are you? It's good to see you again. My favorite thing I did on the playground was those flying discs on chains you could sit in and swing around it. What kind of fancy park did you go to? I did not have that. Oh, but we did have like tires. Is it the same thing as tires? Like little spinny tires? I don't really like the spinny tires. They make me feel like vomiting. Doing great, that's good. I'm glad you're doing great. Got any plans for the weekend, Gnome? Were you around snow a lot growing up? Me? No, I was not. There was no snow where I grew up. But I did see snow once in a while if I went on like a road trip and went somewhere. Yeah. So I'm not completely foreign to snow, but, you know, it didn't actively snow where I was. Letter from a boy. I know it's sudden, but I'm moving. I won't ever forget you, Hinako. Thank you for saving me, Kotoyuki. Wow. How does... I guess Hinako doesn't remember him because it was just one encounter. Higashi ne. I don't need the Higashi. Oh!
Fruit, I missed you. Hope the trip was fun.
Hi, Wolf. Thank you so much for the 6 months. Thank you. I missed you too. How are you? Actually, it's gonna be ad break very soon. Hold on. But thank you so much. Thank you. Japan trip was fun. I shared pictures last stream, but there should be a VOD somewhere. But yeah, it was fun. Ate a lot of food. Saw my family. I roamed around for 2 weeks and then I came back. But yeah, it was good. How are you? How have you been? I'm gonna grab some food real quick. Okay, thank you for the lurk, Gunther. Enjoy your dinner. Thank you for the raid. But yeah. I hope you're doing well, Wolf. Thank you. I think ad break is starting, so I'm gonna go ad break really quick. And then I'll be back. Uno momento. I'll be back. Okay. I'm back. You are back. We are back. Yes. Okay. I remember kids used to lay down on their stomachs and swings and twist around. So the chains had a lot of tension and would lift their legs and spin around. He used to say it was horribly nauseating. Yeah, I might have done that too. I don't think I lied down though. I think I just sat normally in the seat and I twisted the chains and spun around. But yeah, it's very nauseating. Just exhausted from work. Oh no. I hope you get lots of rest this weekend, Wolf. I hope you get lots of rest. Do you have Thanksgiving off? Are you gonna be working Thanksgiving? It's coming up. It's like 2 weeks. I guess it's still 2 weeks from now. But yeah. This BRB screen is so cute. Thank you, Rai. I'm glad you like it. I had a lot of fun making it. It's just a sleeping little mold gremlin, kind of like a dozing off. It's me every day at work. Dozing off. Yes. I didn't break any of my bones. Yeah, me too. I don't know how I didn't break my bones jumping off the swing set and spinning around. It's never too late. It's never too late to break a bone. Advice from a professional pharmacist, by the way. Welcome back. Thank you, Squeenie. Are you mold? I'm a moldy fruit. I'm not just a regular. You see these hands? I don't know if you can see it. I'm holding my controller, but the hands have little bits of mold on it. It's blackened with mold. Yes. I'm off to Thanksgiving, but I go back the next day. Okay. Well, at least I get that one day off to rest. It's like halfway through the week, which is nice. Never broken a bone before. Same. Me too. Never broken a bone. At least not that I know of. Not that I know of. One time I jumped down the stairs at home and then I landed on my butt and then my tailbone hurt like crazy for like 2 weeks. Let's just say I didn't. You know what? I didn't break my bone. Nobody ever told me that I did, so I didn't break a bone. I'm fine. I didn't break my tailbone. Their birthday cake should be this year. I wonder if they can do something similar to the Japanese strawberry shortcake you had. Ooh, yeah, that would be yummy. Yeah, you could do strawberry shortcake flavor, but it's just so different here. It doesn't taste the same. Also, Squiddy birthday this year? Okay, so it's either November or December. I've narrowed it down. It's either November or December. I wonder. Jump down the stairs. I skipped like 3 steps at the end and I jumped off and then I slipped. I slipped on the carpet and hit my tailbone. I couldn't walk straight for like 2 weeks. That was not fun. Sprained her coccyx? Is that what it's called? Coccyx? I did sprain it. Either I bruised it or I sprained it. It was not fun. I do not recommend it. Can I go up this? I cannot. Lame. They add swing physics, but they don't add slide physics. こっちから出なきゃいけないの? こっちから? Oh, I mean, maybe there's something down here. Some loot, maybe? Oh yeah, there is. Okay, more pills. More drugs. Well, it is blocked somewhere down the line. Chocolate. What does chocolate do? Max sanity. Can be used as an offering. I don't know which one has more power as an offering. Maybe I have too much first aid kits? I really need to find a Hokora soon. There should be one up there on the way home. Ah, radio. I need to listen to radio.
被害者につきましては意識不明呼吸も確認できないとのこと金賞98了解しました以上金賞本部10人前後が倒れているような状態現在確認中ですしばらく待てどうぞ
What? 10 people dead? Seems like some kind of con between like police or something. Why'd they die? 10 people dead. I will let you know, but I'm sad that you likely won't be streaming that day. Oh, maybe. So okay, so it's not a Friday or a Saturday. Or maybe it just means that I'll be gone, which is also true. They can jump! That's cheating! That's cheating! Is that loot even worth fighting? I don't think it's worth it. I'm going. It's not worth it. I'm leaving. I heard a monster earlier though, so there might be a monster here. Wait, which way am I supposed to go? Okay, the way the monster. Shoot, there might be loot somewhere here though. Oh, there's a little house here. Oh, a letter. Nice. Strict mother's letter. Good morning, my handsome boy. I know it's a little sudden, but we shall be moving tomorrow. I've already notified your teacher, so just make sure to say goodbye to all your friends. I shall tell you everything at home. So is it Kotoyuki? Kotoyuki is the fox guy. He's the only handsome boy in this game. Sorry, Shu. Sorry, Shu, but you're just not handsome enough. There's another health thing right there, but I don't have space for it. I mean, I got the extra loot lure. ここに祠がある。できない今。Oh man. Oh, there's two of them. Oh my gosh. ここにもなんかあるよ。ほら。ちょっと待ってね。Chwak. The way you spelled it, Toma, my goodness. Why'd you spell it like that? Chocolate. Okay? I always feel so bad for protagonists who get all beaten up in games and movies. I always just want to bring them to a hospital. I know. Who's gonna look after Hinako's wounds? They're gonna get infected with all this goop going on, all this goop in the city. Radio Lore is crazy. Yeah, Radio Lore is serving extra hot tea today. Group hugs. Anyone down for a group hug? Anyone? Inviting me for a good time. What's going on? What is Ope soliciting in my chat? Soliciting for what? Okay, another one for handsome boy Kotoyuki. Good morning, my handsome boy. Even if you find yourself poor of pocket, you must never let yourself become poor of heart. Is he poor? You mustn't forget that you have inherited your father's noble blood. He's noble. You must study hard and learn to be a gentleman. Do not think of yourself as a little boy, for you are simply a tiny adult waiting to grow. There will come a day when your father shall require your help, mark my words. Wait, did Kotoyuki get bitten by a rabid fox? Doesn't that mean he has rabies? Okay, they don't see me anymore. Nice. Nice, I can enshrine some stuff. Chocolate. Okay, and then I can pray for health or sanity. No, health. Stamina, extra wait, if I put 50 more points in, I can get more stamina, which is more important than health. Wait. Enshrine. I just need 50. あんまりね、あられ食べないからな。I don't really eat the あられ, so maybe I can just donate all of this. I have enough for stamina. I love stamina. It's not there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is great. Oh. Oh, very good. Yes, very good. I have extra stamina now. Don't get your hopes up for anything besides some TV and snacks. That sounds healthy enough. That sounds healthy enough to me. Oh yeah, this is where the truck is. From earlier. I'm on the other side now. Oh gosh, why there's so many monsters? It's like when there's monsters and you have limited weapon health, you're kind of like... You can't explore as much as you want to. Unless you're really good at dodging. To go right. Pretty sure I got stuff though, most stuff. Is there any loot? No, no loot. Oh, what's this? Oh, a kitchen knife. Ooh, that is pretty good. It's probably better than a steel pipe. I'm replacing the steel pipe. Should I save the bat? I should try to use the knife more. Maybe it's a common weapon. Why is she making that sound? Ah. Ah. You know the video of the camel making like a weird sound that goes ah. Ah. It's a little bit like that. Gives the best hugs. Oh, thank you. Oh, okay. She's fighting it. She's fighting it. She's fighting the urge. Okay. Gave birth. Oh gosh. Gonna attack or what? Okay. Wow, am I just stronger? Did just Hinako's just stronger IRL now too? Whoa. Oh gosh, she pooped another one out. Oh, she pooped 2 out. Uh-oh, that's not good. I have to get rid of this thing. Yeah. Ah, she keeps pooping more things out. Oh, there's like another person in the back. Ew! Ah, puss attack! Puss! There's puss coming out of the things. Oh god, gross. Ah! Ow! Oh gosh, girl, what the heck? Just need to hit it 3 times. Ah, kwarichatta. Ah, hi. Oh gosh. I need to heal now. Okay, that's pretty good. That's good enough. She said that with her teeth clenched. She must really love it. Me? Did I say it with my teeth clenched? Preference monster soul bait. What do you mean? The thing that goes... We're communicating. We're communicating just like Dory communicating with the whales in Finding Nemo. It broke. I don't have any more weapons. Other than the one I'm holding. Cutie, so the cutest. Thank you, Dragon. Thank you. I appreciate it. Return to the Shimizu residence. Oh yeah, is this the path I took down in the beginning of the game? Or maybe not. I think that was the other side. It just looks similar. The shining axe will pull you through, I hope, but the axe's durability is limited too. Good googly eyes. Hi, Seb! Googly eyes, hello!
もうすぐだ。
本当だ。Hi! Twin. The googly eyes. You also have googly eye redeem, Seth? You also have the googly eyes. I love it. It's so silly. You do? I love the googly eyes. It's very funny. They're called bug eyes instead. I'll have to redeem it next time I'm at your stream. I was lurking earlier, but I didn't get to redeem anything. But I hope you're doing well, by the way. Wait, how was your stream? How was the Pokemon? Did you catch something good? Some good Pokemon? Also, for anyone that doesn't know, Seb is doing a birthday subathon right now. So make sure you check it out. Are you streaming tomorrow? Is tomorrow the last day of your subathon? Or is it Sunday? Oh gosh, there's massive lag. But yeah, make sure you check out Seb. It's also say happy birthday, Seb. Everybody say happy birthday. Happy birthday, Seb. Those eyes are perfect, thank you. I know. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. You'll fall in love. I think our team is a little overpowered. You know what? Overpowered team in Pokemon games are goated. They're goated. I love having an overpowered team. I have that one Pokemon that's like level 90 something while all the other Pokemons are like level 60. I love that. Monday's the last day? Okay, so we still have 3 more days. Make sure you check it out. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with this? It's so buggy. Yeah. Happy birthday, Sav. 絶対なんか飛び出てきそう. I hear it. I hear the monster. Is it in the building? Uh-oh. Arare. Or is it on the other side of the building? It's not in the house, is it? Why is the game lagging? Oh gosh, I hear it, but I think it's on the other side of the building. Where is it? Oh yeah, he's right there. Oh! How do you notice me? You didn't notice me, right? Okay. Oh, it makes me feel like there's loot out there. But I don't want to fight this guy. I don't want to fight him. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh gosh, he's so ugly. Oh no, he's coming. Maybe I take my leave now. I'm too scared. Ah, nakagpay na quite. Oh, it's scary. Ah, man, should I go the other way? Oh, is it worth it? Oh, there's a hokora right there. I can save right here. Hold on. Loot killed the fruit. The loot killed the fruit? That's true. I'm too curious. The loot in the lore killed the fruit. Oh gosh, oh, there's so many monsters down here. But it feels like there's something good here, you know? I did just save. So if I die, it's like whatever. Nakanai? Is it back here? I just namune. Loot killed the fruit, guys. Loot killed the fruit. Luke killed the fruit! Luke killed the fruit! Please! Can I go in here now? No stamina. No, I can't even go in here anymore. Is there any point coming back here? Okay, loot. It's a good thing they don't attack you once they can't see you anymore. Nah. I am saved by game mechanics. Whoa, what the heck? I can't walk through these cloth. It must be the hardest cloth in the world. Hardest bricks. Maybe I can go all the way down? There's like a post box. Maybe I should try going down once? Because why would it let you go this way? If there's nothing down here, you know? There's a post box there. Wait, I have some loot, right? It was like a... Let me see. Items. Chigauka. It's this one. Sakuko's mailbox. Feels like I gotta use this. This is my only time to use it, right? But Sakuko's house is all the way down there. It looks like the path is blocked now. Is that for the new game plus thing? Well, that's not her mailbox, right? Is that her mailbox? I can go check. It is a post box, but it's not a mailbox. Oh, there's a great fart. Oh no, there's gas. Is this the gas hurt me? Maybe it does. Whatever, I'm going. Okay, that is just a post box. That is indeed just a post box. Look, I do good. What is the point of going this way? I need to know. You're so loud! Stop stomping around, I hate it. Oh my gosh, there's nothing here. I came back here for nothing! I'm believing that there's something here that I should have. Okay, maybe there isn't. Maybe I just lied. I'm going. I know, it's so gross and scary. So scary. Help. Okay, well, I came all the way back here in hopes there would be extra stuff, but there's nothing here. Just more monsters. Man, 何のため本当。I guess I'll go back. Maybe there was something, but I just missed it. Ah, hey, girl, what the fuck? Wait, I need to heal. I just dropped the F-bomb. Oh, gosh, okay. Take a break. I love when enemies walk in sync. Yeah, it's great. It's great. I'm glad that despite Hinako being all ripped to shreds, her hair is still perfect and gleaming like in a commercial. True, like a shampoo commercial. Or a conditioner commercial. It happens, yeah. It was too intense. I was too scared to go further. What is she looking at? Is there some loot here? Yeah, bandage, nice. Okay, so we're all the way back home now. The last section of the game. The potatoes are still here. Okay. Anything else? No. Alright, home sweet home. It was a reasonable slip, thank you. Thank you for justifying my slip. Uh-oh, there's a lot of them. Uh-oh. I need to go home. Home sweet home! Ah, wait, there's something on here. There's something here. It's a bandage. Yeah. Let me go home. Let me go home! I can't go in my own house. Can I go back? Can I go home? Hey! Hey! This is the... Oh, that's not my house. It's a shack. It's just a random... It's a random shack. Where's my house? My god, he's still following me! Don't follow me anymore! Go away. Maybe they're friendly. Maybe they just want a big hug. Maybe they're just that excited to see me. There's something over here? Man. Guys, the loot killed the fruit. I'm going for it. The loot killed the fruit. What is up here? Is there anything worthwhile up here? Is this like... Is this just New Game Plus stuff? There's chocolate. I don't think there's anything here. I'm assuming New Game Plus probably might let you go this way, maybe? I would not be surprised if they let you go that way. Clip, thank you, Sam. I don't know if that command works though. Does that command work? I might not have it set up. Do you have to set up the clip command? Home sweet home. Country road. Take me home. To the place where I belong. West Virginia. Hey, girl. Hey. Okay, I'm going home now. Yes, your home is also ruined, little girl. Ah, hi. 家の中入ろうね。はい、行こうね。Okay.
どういうこと？廊下、襖、間取りが全部変わってる。もう何なの？
She was about to crash out for real right there. I was having a little crash out session. Chipo TV 50-inch Roku?
もしもし。
清水さんのお宅でお間違いないでしょうか。岡本水産でございます。毎度ごひいきに預かり誠にありがとうございます。
うるさ。うるさ。What the heck was that? What was that for? Huh? I don't understand this sequence. What was that? What's the purpose of Okamoto Sui-san? なんでなんで岡本水産電話がかかってくんの Huh? Watch me guess I'll just steal all the snacks. Snacks greater than TV. Wholeheartedly believe that Fruit would survive an IRL situation like this, but she probably wouldn't be well mentally afterward. You're so right about that. I'm already mentally unwell. It'll simply get worse. Darn fishermen and their extended fish warranties. Spam calls. True. Frickin', I don't want your fish warranty. I don't need your fish warranty. Oh my gosh. House is huge. You must be rich. I have enough fish warranty for now. No thank you. Hey yo, Sapphire, welcome back. どこ行くの? It's such a big house now. What? Ah, all the doors are stuck. Ah! Hokora. Nice. But I am fish? You are fish, Junie? You are fish. I am fish. We are all fish. What kind of fish are you? The sword and the fox fought, battling upon a set of scales. The heavens themselves shuddered at the ferocity of their struggle. Day after day, the sun rose behind the fox's back and set behind the swords, yet their fight knew no end. The scales upon which they fought, however, were no more, having been destroyed long ago. This looks like a puzzle. It looks like a puzzle. My room. Oh, of course, I have to collect 3 little things to put in the door. I don't remember installing this lock on my room door. Who installed this lock? これね。I got 3. I gotta find 3 items. Oh, steel pipe. Nice. I'll just use steel pipe for now. Is it bad that when I see a long hallway, I just want to throw a bowling ball down it? It is not bad. It is the natural human instinct to do so. It's quiet. Ooh, this room open. Whose room is this? What is this? Oh, dried carcass. Maybe instead of lamune. お供え物. Whale shark fish. Ooh, whale shark. I like whale shark. Whale shark are very cool. It's closed. I'm assuming these doors will open eventually. Oh, what's this? There used to be a calendar here, I think. Okay, so also have to find a calendar. I'm gonna gift the offering. And shrine. It's very little, but it's something. Would you be mad if you came home from work and someone added 3 to 4 more stories onto your dwelling? I would not be mad. I could use 3 to 4 more stores in my dwelling. I could always use more. More is good. More rooms to do silly things in. But I will probably have to hire a maid because I'm not cleaning 3 to 4 extra floors of rooms. Ooh, big room. Ah, ここ開く. これ誰の部屋? Isn't there Rinko on the wall? What are these photos? Oh gosh. I don't know, I'm dead! They're crossed out. I'm crossed out. Ominous photo. A rather unsettling group photo that hangs in the living room. It seems someone has taken a marker to it. They scribbled me out with tomato sauce, man. It's not very nice. Oh. I don't know why, but it appears each photograph can be rotated. There might be some kind of connection to the writing on the group photo. There's a writing on the group photo? これ? Okay, there's no writing on the group photo. Oh, ここも開く. Whoa, there's so many rooms. Oh, there's actually a map. Okay, that's good. I wish this wasn't a thing. Yeah, it would be a lot easier that way. Okay, so this is another puzzle. What is that? Is that mom cooking food? Ah, the spinnies. Shu and Sakuko. I'm not too sure what the puzzle is. Something was hanging here before. Oh, a photo. Besides the group photo, there is a collection of other photographs. One seems to be missing. Okay, looks like I need to also find another photograph. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of things to do. You think you want more room until you rent quadruple? Hey, wait. When they increase my dwelling by 3 to 4 floors, I wasn't expecting a rent increase as well. It's no fair. I didn't sign up for that. Take it back. Take back the extra 3 to 4 floors. I don't want it anymore. Ramune. Chabudai. Red pills, my beloved. My favorite kind of pills. The red ones. Strawberry flavored. There's a calendar here. Can't I just rip that one off? Look at that. That's the wedding of my sister, Junko. Okay. Arare. Chabudai. Ah, ここにもなんかある。これ何これ? Note from Hinako. I'm still alive, but tomorrow I'll make sure you draw your final breath. I don't care if it's your special day. Huh? My hair's stuck in my body. Hold on. A note from me? Why am I saying that? About who? I wanna... Is it... What? Who am I trying to kill? Ah, あれ? 開かない. Ah, 開いた. Oh, okay, well. I'm on the other side now. Okay, there's some dark room of death over there. Feels like once I go in there, something horrible's gonna happen. こっち. Go this way. Before too many monsters start spawning, I guess. This just goes in a loop. Stuck. Okay. Have I been here before? No, this is a new room. Huh. Oh. Oh. Oh, nice. An axe. Oh, yeah, that's pretty good. Nice. I have 2 axes. My pills are stronger than my demons. The pills can destroy any demons. It is unstoppable. The biggest question of all, are the backrooms underground? It is not underground. It is an alternate reality. It is not the underground. こっちはもう部屋ないの? I feel like I hear footsteps following me, but I don't see anything. I didn't go into this big area, right? Oh, びっくりした.
It's past the fruit cup's bedtime.
Is it? I stay late up this late usually though, but hi! Thank you for the 29 months, Pup Taco. How are you? How are you? Good to see you again. Pup Taco. Is it past my bedtime? I mean, I am pretty sleepy, I do agree. But welcome in, Pup Taco. How are you? How are you doing? How's work? How's life? How's life going? That actually scared me. Squiddy, are you laughing because I got scared from the from the Pup Taco? Oh. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's definitely my dad's room, of course. Look at all that beer bottle day drinking shenanigans. Thought that pie was in the game for a second. Think quick. Think fast. fast. Throws a pie at me. Oh no. That means it's past your bedtime? Maybe. Maybe I got scared because I'm just that exhausted. It's way past my bedtime. It's past your bedtime, Poptaku. What are you doing up so late, huh? To Shimizu Kanta. Certificate of full payment. This certificate has been sent to certify that Shimizu Kanta has paid all outstanding loans and is hereby released from any further contractual obligations. Oh, he was in debt? But he paid it back. That's good. That's a good thing. Taco Dog is tired now, but very boring lately. Just working, prepping for college time. Wait, you're going to college? Wait, have you always been to college? I know you were taking... Wait. You're going to college? Wait, it feels like you said it before, but I just don't remember. I'm always up this late, you. Well, you better go get your beauty sleep. Gotta get your beauty sleep, even if you are up this late usually. Just make sure you get to bed before you start seeing shadow people. Shadow people! Why am I seeing shadow people? I don't like them. I don't want to see shadow people. Divine water. I don't want divine water. This is my uniform though. Who's been mending my uniform? I guess my mom? What's the point of being here? Just for the loot and the extra lore? That's it? I guess that's it. Okay. Is there anything else here? No, this is not a door. What? This isn't a door either. There's nothing in there! Debated. Okay, is there anywhere else I didn't explore? Why does that have like a circle around it? There's like a hallway down here I didn't go down. Huh. There's a couple doors I haven't tried. I'll just keep going around, I guess. 左? こっち? Indeed, going to school for nursing. Oh, nursing. Oh, okay, okay. That's nice. That's a pretty good job to have. Are you excited for school? あれ? これはもうさっき試した。Okay. Okay, that's the door with the puzzle. There's a hall here that I didn't go down. I wish I can refund my degree. Nursing is definitely a good choice. Yeah, that's what I was saying too. Yeah, nursing is a good choice. Feels like there's a lot of good opportunities. What's this room? Oh, this is a new room. Anything? Nothing? Just an empty room with loot? Okay. The Poptaku is gonna be the... Who's making that sound? He's still choking! He's choking after the H-U-N-G. Uh-oh. We're gonna have to fight something. Wait, where's the... Wait, let me save. Hold on. I explored too much. I gotta save now. Because I feel like once I do that, it's gonna spawn a bunch of monsters. Okay, can you go back? I'm getting a bit tired though, but we'll check out what's going on here. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get into like the streaming groove. I get tired easily. Won't budge. Okay. Any loot? Any extra loot? No loot? Okay. あ、これカレンダーあるよ。ほら。イェイ！ナイス。
ここにこの日付何か大事な日だった気が。
Oh, I need to put something in here. Okay, so now I have to find another thing. It's another something. Okay, well I can put the calendar where it's supposed to go. I think it was around this corner over here. He's choking on buffalo sauce. What a lightweight. It was too spicy for Shu, that buffalo sauce. It was too much for that poor boy. どこだっけ? Where am I supposed to put it? It was here, right? Nice. October 6th of 1962. Oh, that looks ominous. Hold on. Let me save. Nemu step. I know. I'm so Nemu step. I am so always Nemu step. Ah, so sleepy. The world can't get enough nurses, always needing more. That is true. That's why there's so many job opportunities as a nurse. At least I've heard, compared to other fields. Thanks for being a great second monitor friend, Fruit. Good night. Okay, good night, Junie. Thanks for coming. I enjoy being your second monitor friend. I hope you have a good night. Taco dog nurse. True. What if you just rebrand to a taco dog nurse? That would be kind of cute. Ah, yes. Now we've entered the monster realm.
私の家どうなってるの?
どうなってるのね、ほんと. What's in here? Whoa, that's a big bath. That's a huge bathtub. To be honest, am I ever gonna get enough offerings to do anything else? I do have a good amount of bandages though. Maybe I'll hold off on that. Which one of y'all will take a dunk in here? Take a bath. It looks like it's looking a little greasy. A little extra grease in there. October 1962 was the Cuban Missile Crisis. Hanako doesn't realize that the world is about to blow up. Whoa, Skitty here with the history lesson. I did not know that. Must be coincidence. You're on my phone while I'm playing Minecraft, but now Borderlands 4. I'm your phone friend, your phone companion. The phone monitor friend. $10, I would jump in there. $10? Well, that's way too cheap. What if this is still water? What if this is oil water? It could be dangerous. You're doing it for $10? You should do it for $10,000. The pickle brine room. True. It is giving pickle brine. Ah, ここにもある、祠。Shimizu residence. Find the crests, but it looks different. It's green. It's the green Shimizu residence. Pickle juice. Everybody sees pickle juice in that tub. こんな目の前にいるのかい。ちょっと待って。What the heck? Girl. Not if I strike first. I hit the wall. Dang it. I hit the wall. Okay, never mind. That was good enough. We ball then. We ball for $10. Let's go. Oh no, I hear another monster. It's gonna be a mess trying to find the crest in here. Ah, not this guy, no. Ah, he saw me, I think. Did he see me? And he's just squirting random stuff for no reason. It feels like there's something in there and I have to get in there somehow. Hey! Ah! Ah! He sprayed tomato juice on me! Ah! The door is in the way! Ah, gosh. Can you let me hit you? Let go! I need this guy to get out of the way. Oh my gosh. Okay, he died. Okay, I was gonna say he's so strong. Sickle. Huh, a sickle. Well, oh, both my axes are almost out. Is this sickle good? I can try the sickle. Nan no tame. What's the point of being in this room then? Why'd I come in here? Nan no tame. Okay, how's that? Huh. Okay. I know someone who got into working for the hospital authority from having a nursing diploma and makes like nearly 6k USD monthly. Oh, that's pretty good. 6k USD before tax or after tax. That is pretty good though for being a hospital authority. What is hospital authority? Imagine running out of toilet paper and having to walk to the other side of your city-sized house to get a fresh roll. Fresh dookie on your butt, roaming around the house looking for toilet paper. By the time you find it, your dookie will be dried up and it would not be very good. They're good at harvesting for sure. Harvest time, harvest moon. I would totally love if you watered fruit enough in one stream she became giant. You know, it's funny, somebody had that idea a long time ago. Yeah, every time they watered me, I would become slightly larger. Eventually, I would be a giant. Good times, good times. How's it going? It's going. I'm in the house section now, Hashi, and it feels like it's gonna be really long. Wait, Hashi, how long was this section? Is it super, super long? Am I gonna be here forever? Okay, some random room. Emma! Oh, that is so good. But I don't have enough points for any more upgrades. She would soak up water like a sponge. I would. I need more water. It's pretty long. Yeah, that's what I thought. I have to see how far I can get. Okay, this one's stuck. This one's open. Hello? Okay.
お前は何度言ったらわかるんだ。
すみませんね。
お前、味ちゃんと見てんのか。薄すぎんだよ。こんなの茶色い泥水じゃねえか。こんなこともまともにできないのか。女に味噌汁が作れなくて何の価値があるんだ。
やめてよ。いつもいい加減にして。
うるせえ。親にその言い方は何だ。引っ込んでろ。
お母さんもお母さんだよ。ちゃんと言い返せばいいじゃない。お父さんもそんなに気に入らないなら自分で作ればいいでしょ。上手なんでしょ、お料理。
ひなこやめて。お父さんにそんな言い方しないで。お母さんが悪いんだよ。ひなこはいいから早く学校に行きな。
お母さん何も悪くないよ。悪いのは全部お父さんだよ。
ひなこ、お父さんにそんなこと言うもんじゃないよ。早く行きな、早く。
Glance.
お父さんも嫌いだったけど、お母さんも好きじゃなかったな。
Glance. Nonchalant, glancy. Yeah, what the heck? Horrible dad. Yeah, go make your own miso soup, dad. Go make it yourself. Let's see how that tastes, huh? 1960, May 26th. Placed in the room for some reason. Okay. May of 1960. If you make 6k a month, you're rich to me? If you make 6k a month after tax, it's pretty good. 6k a month plus after... Wait, 6k a month and then if it gets taxed, it's like 4,000 something, I think. Which is still pretty good. It took me a decent amount of time. Yeah, it looks like a really big section. Should I go to see Hokora now? Oh, it's saved. Wow, it's saved, girl. She is roaming around. Wait, I just need to get to the save. I progressed like slightly. Me in the middle of the night looking for a snack. That's me. Oh no. Yeah, go that way. Go that way, yeah. Go that way. あれどっちだっけ Huh? It was right there in front of my face? I didn't even see it. Wait, what? Wait, where is the whole... Ready? I don't know where it is anymore. Girl, you gonna come in here now? Girl, what the freak? Ah! Ah! Uh-oh, I can go this way. Oh, nice. I can't do this right now because she's attacking me. I don't know. I don't know. Is this a dead end? Oh, shoot, it's a dead end. Ah! Oh, gosh. She still sees me? Oh, man. Okay, I'll have to fight her then. Ah! What? That was such a long attack. No fair! Ugh. Oh. Uh-oh. Ah! No! I was healing! Oh, my gosh. No! I didn't get to save! Oh, I have to go through that whole section again. Do I? Oh, no, wait. It's saved. I think it's saved. There was an autosave. I remember now. Gosh, thank goodness for autosaves. Probably not a good idea to be in here. She found me. Ah! Where's the save? This house is so confusing, guys. Are you saying she's still following me? She's still following me. Oh my gosh. I should probably take a pill. Oh gosh. Yeah, that is a dead end. That's why I died. Ah, I ran out of stamina. Oh my gosh. Okay, finally died. Save here. Okay, nice. Yeah. These enemies cheat. I know. That's not fair. They said if you leave the line of sight, they won't like be aggroed anymore. But it just chases you down now. Bad dad. I know. Horrible dad. I still have to try miso soup. It has such a nice aroma. You haven't had miso soup? It's so yummy. It's pretty easy to make. I could tell you how to make it. What snack you grabbing at 2 a.m.? Oreos. I'm grabbing Oreos at 2 a.m. Only snack. That's triple of my pay, so I kneel for that salary. Wait, 6,000 a month? Yeah, it is a good amount. I think the cutscene autos... You're fine. Yeah, thank you, Seth. I know. Yeah, I was like, oh no, I have to go through that whole section again. That would have sucked, yeah. More Foodstuff streams? I will be streaming tomorrow. Yeah, I can only manage like 2 or 3 a week. That's all I can muster. Hospital Authority is the government org that manages all the public hospital in Hong Kong. So we know bureaucracy and admins are the true money maker instead of actual workers. Aw, that sounds kind of poopy. That sounds kind of poo-poo. The real workers are the ones doing the hard work. In fact, we need more footsteps. Screams! True! More screams. I let Old Bay fist bump me as many times as he like for that. Each fist bump is like $100. Every time you get a huge, massive fist bump from Old Bay, it's another $100 in your bank. Goated snack. Thank you, got there. Right now, I have 3 types of Oreos. I have a regular Oreo. I have like the Oreo with the extra cream, and I also have an Oreo like an off-brand one that like apparently it's like a coffee flavored or something, which I haven't had yet. So very excited. I also had like a jasmine tea peach Oreo before too. It was like some kind of Chinese Oreo. Do I get a piece? Are we talking about Oreos or fist bumps? The thin Oreos? Ooh, I don't think I've had the thin Oreos, but that sounds pretty good too. That does sound pretty good. I haven't found a single crest, guys. I haven't found a single crest. Double stuffed Oreos are my default. Yeah, the double stuff is so good. It makes you feel like you're just on a one-way road to diabetes. It is so sweet. Oh gosh, please, no. Please. Every type of monster is here. So many monsters. Okay, there's another room. This is my room? To be honest, I might end it pretty soon, but hold on. Letter from a man. I do not believe there's any reason you should be tied down by your younger self. Likewise, there's no reason your future self should be constrained by the you are today. Thank you, by the way, for the beautiful pressed flower. It was the first gift I ever received from you, and I will surely cherish it until the end of time. I gave a pressed flower to a strange man? I do not know what that means, but okay. Maybe save again. I just got some extra lore. Lemon Oreos. Oh, I might have had lemon Oreos before. There's something down there. I don't really want to fight anything right now. Oh, yep. Yikes. I don't like that guy. I really hate that guy. I think everyone's on ad break though, so I think I'll go and break really, really fast. I'm already a little late on the break, but I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Okay. Well, I'm pretty tired, so I think I'm gonna actually end it here. I don't even know if I can finish the whole game tomorrow. It feels like I might, I don't know. It's like a big maybe. It's a big maybe. We'll have to see how far I can get tomorrow, because I just started this house section and apparently it's really long, so we shall see. If I can't finish it tomorrow, then I don't know. Maybe I'll do extra stream sometime next week. Like before Friday or something. Just to finish it up. Because I'm pretty sure I can get okay chunk done tomorrow if I lock in. Just might not be able to complete the whole thing. Right, let me go back to title screen so my PC doesn't explode. Exit game, nice. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna raid out, so hold on while I look for someone to raid into. But thank you for coming. Yeah, thank you, Rai, for coming. I'm so glad you stopped by. I'll have to stop by your stream next time. Next time I'll have to go to your stream. Welcome back. Thank you, Squiddy. Thank you. Otsuka desu. Hi, otsukare desu. Otsukare sama. Hi, otsukare. Yes. Thank you. Can I get the dates of your December hiatus again? Yeah! Oh, let me see. Let me think about what the hiatus would be. Most likely my last stream would be... Probably the 29th this month. So I only have 2 more weeks left. So it'll be from 29th is the last stream. So it'll be the November 30th until... November 30th until... Maybe January 3rd. January 3rd, possibly maybe not till January like 9th. So just write like November 30th to like January 3rd for now. I don't know because I come back only like a day or two before that, so it also depends on how well I recover from the surgery. So yeah, if I'm not feeling completely painless by then, it will probably be like January 9th or something. Yeah. Great message. Yeah, thank you, Big. Dope stream chat, thank you, wow, thank you. Thank you for the stream. Amazing time. Great to have you back, even if it's just for a little bit. Yeah, thank you, Gunther. I know. Once I come back in January, though, I should be back for a good long while. I don't have anything planned for a while next year, so I should be back for a good long while. Yeah, oh, Strabi, hi. Thank you for coming. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. It's good to see you. Thank you. My fruit moot. Also, well, I guess it's not next week yet, so I'll probably talk about that tomorrow. But yeah, I have a couple things planned with like a couple people for like the next week and the following week after that, so stay tuned for that. November 29th to January 9th. Wow, I know it's so long. Now that I think about it, it's so long. Because I leave for the Fruit Palace or whatever. December like 2nd. Which is why I can only stream on the 29th of November. That's my last one. Leave December like 2nd and then probably come back like January 1st or January 2nd or something. Yeah, bye-bye, Wabusa. Bye-bye. No Christmas with Bird, I know. I always miss Christmas every year because I always go home for Christmas. So there's no Christmas fruit. There's no Christmas fruit and there's no Halloween fruit. Because I'm almost always gone on Halloween too. The hill was loud today. Fruity coming at you with screams of joy. The loam is totally safe and trustworthy and no way related to any missing persons or strange netherworlds. Afraid, meow. Thank you. Thank you, Ove. It's a little long. It's a little long, I think. But it's okay. It's okay. We're all good. Alright, thank you. I'm gonna miss you again. I know. I'm gonna miss you again too. I'm so sad. I've been doing a little lurky. Yeah, thank you for the lurky, Strawberry. I appreciate the lurky. I love lurkies. Lurkies are the best. Thank you. I do lurky in your stream a lot too. Sometimes I go in there and just lurkies. You and Sev especially. What are the odds of playing some more Cry of Fear this month? Oh, it depends if I finish this game, but I might play it like... I might play it next week end, like the 21st and the 22nd maybe? Or one of those days, one or the other probably. I'll probably play it like twice before I leave. I hope. At least once. I'm gonna be working on Christmas lols. What's the Christmas lol? It's fine, I have plenty of alcohol prepared for the withdrawal. Hey! Bad coffee, bad. I'm gonna replace all that alcohol with pure water from the top of Mount Fuji. You can't... You can't drink yourself into oblivion, please. The hill was loud today. Fruity coming out with screams of joy. Thank you. Thank you for the short version. Thank you. Yeah, it's just that I don't want to raid in with like something that's like too long, and then the person that got raided is like, oh, I can't read all that, you know. But thank you. I do love your raid messages, Sobe. They're very creative and funny. Alright, let me see who I can raid into. Let me see. I should go to my stream manager. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Choices. Let me see. There's one person. Let me check what they're up to. Let's see what they're up to. Just have fun with writing some message. You can always ask me to shorten them. Okay. Thank you for shortening it, Obe. I appreciate it. Let me see. Let me see what they're up to. Okay, I'm sorry, I was watching their stream a little bit. Alright, well, I'm gonna raid into Frostysaurus Rex. Frostysaurus Rex. Raided into my stream like 2-3 times while I was playing Silent Hill. They were also playing Silent Hill, so that's why they raided into me. And they have a silly little waddle. I think it's really silly, so I think it'll be fun. So yeah, I'm gonna send you out to Frostysaurus. They're playing Hollow Knight Silk Song. And looks like they're having a hard time finding a bench or something, so... So I'll send you all over there. Be nice. Be nice. Wait, Oz is in there right now. Be nice, everyone. And I will see you tomorrow for more Silent Hill. Let's see how far I can get. Alright, I'm gonna start the raid. Thank you for coming, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Oh, I need to go. I couldn't brain for a second. No brain. Okay. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Wolf. Thank you, Squiddy. Thank you, Ope, for coming. Let me make the ending tune a little quieter. Thank you, Coffee. Thank you, Strappy. Thank you, Sev. Thank you, Gunther, for the raid as well. Thank you. Thank you, Us. Thank you, Rai, for coming. Thank you. Thank you, Hashi. Thank you, Poptaku. Thank you. Sapphire, thank you. Wabusa, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It was really fun. Let's try to finish this game tomorrow. The hills are not silent. They will not be silent tomorrow. Full of my beautiful screams. Yes. And thank you for anyone else that's here and that came. Thank you so much. Yeah, bye, Gunther. Thank you. 2 places at once. Yeah, Oz is like a wizard in 2 places at once. Crazy. Thank you so much. Hi. Hi, Seth. Thank you for coming. Alright, I'm gonna send you all over to Frostysaurus. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.